Hey, what's going on, guys? Xbox All In channel, host Sega Forever here, doing a little bit something a little bit different. Just gonna do an All In cast this week. I was trying to get everything together yesterday to actually do a podcast because it was the week that I'm supposed to be doing the Wrecking Crew podcast, but I was just too busy. I got too much stuff going on, actually real world things that gamers like ourselves have to deal with from time to time. You have to get out of the bubble, get out of the gaming bubble. And even though I've been enjoying Game Pass as much as I can, I mean, I just got a lot of stuff that I need to take care of. A lot of stuff with family, with work. I'm pretty sure I'm not telling you guys something you guys don't already know. And these things are important. Um, but one of the things that happens when when life is happening and you have things to do that supersedes gaming and the gaming news is you can't address certain things that happen in the gaming community, especially when it comes to news. And so this is the issue that I had this week. In fact, today, sorry about all the background noise, guys. This is another reason why I do my podcast at certain times because right now it's really noisy, right? Um, but yeah, anyway, so I got distracted. Sorry about that. Um, yeah, but that's why I try and be consistent as much as possible with this channel. But it's just been too hard for me the last month. Got so much other stuff going on that you, you end up missing a lot of the stuff, and you can't do the videos that you want to. But hat tip to the community out there, the Xbox community, especially the guys I hang with, um, Hebot, and E-Rock, and Sega Man, Unlimited, Tuckmaster, Zing, they all the guys who've been doing podcasts or doing videos discussing this topic that we're going to go over. As you can see by the title, sell your Xbox. Um, oh, what's up, Ebot? Yeah, I'll send you a link, dude. I'm just doing it this one. I'm just gotta do a fast one because I gotta go pick up my son from his class soon. It's gonna have a pretty busy weekend, and I can't do it on Sunday, so that's why I decided to do it this morning. I didn't want to step on any toes. I'm not sure if Sega Man's gonna do something. Um, but hold on one second. Let me send a link to Hebot, guys. Bear with me. But yeah, I did not get to do a video talking about this Redfall being released in 30 frames per second, which I think is an absolute joke. Not that Redfall is releasing at 30 frames per second, but the actual reactions that we're getting from people. Again, not so much from the PlayStation community, because if you guys haven't figured this out, the majority of the people online are either Sony ponies, right? They're just strictly Sony fanboys that absolutely hate Xbox and would be more than happy to have Xbox just go away, right? And they wouldn't even have a second thought in the world. These guys don't care anything about gaming. They don't care about games, right? They just hate Xbox. As you guys can tell, dude, if you guys are on Twitter or social media in general, dude, these guys only talk about Xbox all the time, right? Now, to their credit, I see some of them actually posting Horizon Forbidden West or Dawn or whatever that game is. See, and that's the difference between an Xbox person like me and a Sony guy. They know everything about Xbox, and I know nothing about PlayStation. And like I told you guys before, I don't care about PlayStation. I don't own a PlayStation. I haven't owned a PlayStation since PS3. That's the last console I owned, and I rarely played that. They had a couple good games on there that I liked. I was a multi-console owner um, for the majority of my gaming life, dude. I mean, I've always been a multi-console owner, but the reason why I went multi-console specifically was because of Sega, right? Sega went from making hardware to becoming a publisher, right? And their presence in the arcade was diminishing. That's the school of gaming that I come from, right? So I've been dealing with these ponies ever since the first PlayStation, right? And they've only gotten worse. These guys aren't gamers, man. These guys are brand gamers. I say this all the time on social media. I say it on my videos. They're brand gamers. It's like somebody who buys Coach, right? It's like somebody who likes Godiva chocolates. Like you could go to the store and pick up Hershey's, right? You could buy any handbag or any wallet that these places sell, that these people sell, but you like the brand. Maybe you like the quality, maybe you like the design, but it's the brand that you're buying, right? And that's the issue. Hey, Hibat, I sent it on Twitter. Let me know if you see it or not. This is what we deal with, man, on a daily basis with these guys. And again, I understand that about the Sony guys. That's why it's so easy to get under their skin when you comment to them, when you tweet them, right? These guys are always trying to change the narrative. The problem with them doing that is they lie and they change the narrative so much that they catch themselves in lies, right? And that's why it's easy to piss them off on social media, dude. It's very simple too. It's actually not even fun anymore, right? I've been replying to some of them. I don't know why they're on my feed, to be honest with you, but you know, when this stuff starts popping off, I'm like, okay, I'm going to respond. But mostly the problem I'm having is with the Xbox community or the so-called Xbox community, and also just average gamers who have to put their opinion in it as well. I'm talking about the guys who read gaming news but only play Fortnite or PUBG or COD. Which I'm not hating on you if you do that kind of stuff. I did it for a while as well, right? Because the reason why I did that is because I just didn't have the time. I just got married, I had 2 kids, and playing certain games just fit into that time space, man. The days of me, um, you know, banging away on a dungeon crawler, were gone. Playing games like Diablo and stuff like that, the single player games, you just didn't have the time. Or you start a single player game, you just didn't have the time to finish it, right? A lot of you guys who are married, who have children, who have families, you guys understand that. So of course your gaming, sometimes your gaming lifestyle changes to fit your normal life, right? And that's what happened with me for a while, and that's why I became a big COD fan, right? Because COD was easy to jump in and jump out, and it was fun. I enjoyed it, man. I was never a first person shooter until a gamer until Halo came out. When the first Halo came out, it actually sold me on my Xbox, and ever since then, I like first person shooters. Before that, I would play like platformers, action adventure RPGs in general, JRPGs, and sports games. That was what my main gaming was, and then you'd play the occasional story driven game. So, this is the gaming background I come from, right? And like I said, dude, all this drama going on with the first party stuff that Microsoft has, to the studios that they purchase, to the quality of the games that they're putting out, to the power of the system. It's a never ending carousel. Eva, did you get it? Did you get the link, brother? Like I'll be on here for. I'm gonna pull a Sega Man today. I'm gonna pull a Sega Man today, like, and I love Sega Man's videos, dude. I see you, bro. I see you, brother. I see you're muted.
I'm here.
Hey, what's up, brother? Sorry, I know I'm a little bit off on the time.
No, no, no. I saw you pop up. I was like, oh, I could actually join in. Nice,
Well, I was gonna do
because
it, but
I
yeah.
know you've been doing a lot of the shows, and then I can't even join. But I'm actually out doing certain things, errands and stuff. So there, I could actually join in. That's cool. That's cool, brother. How you been, man?
I tell you what, man, it's been crazy, dude, for me. I mean, my daughter is a senior this year,
Right,
so
right.
yeah, it kind of hit me this week, man, because she started taking a tour at the campus she's going to go to, man. And I just realized, you know what, she's not my little girl anymore, dude. She's
Yes, sir. That big step. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
man. Normally, I'm not like that, dude, but it was weird. We parked and then I walked with her. Then as soon as we stepped on the campus, I looked at her. I was like, oh my gosh, dude. I mean, I'm kind of losing her, So
Yeah, man, they grow up fast, man. They grow up fast.
yeah, dude. And I know, man. When I know how passionate you are about your family. I'm the same way, and which equally upsets me about this week, right? Because life is continuing, and then when you come back to gaming, you wanna jump in on a game because
Hmm.
our time is limited, or you want to
Yeah,
read
yeah,
up about what's coming out on Game Pass or what's going on with Xbox,
yeah,
and you miss the news for a couple of days. You jump in and the first thing you see, dude, is all this console war BS, dude. You know?
yeah, yeah. It's weird, man. It's weird. Like you're doing nothing but getting amazing games back to back, or at least an amazing variety, right? I'm not
Yeah.
going to use the term amazing games because obviously not all games come out to be as good as you expect sometimes.
Hmm.
And not every game is for everybody and their cup of tea, right?
Yeah.
But what we do know is that we're getting a plethora of games, whether it's on Game Pass for, with the subscription, whether it's through the marketplace itself, whether it's given for free. I mean, even still to this point, getting some free stuff through Xbox Live for having the subscription. And the real problem that we've always discussed, my brother. By the way, I've missed you very much, but I just want to let you know that.
Yeah. It's good to, thanks for
Um,
dropping.
um, one of the things that me and you have discussed, like into our heart's content, and even Sega Man with me and him as well, is that the biggest problem that we have as gamers today, right,
Hmm.
is the fucking backlog of games.
Yeah, it's
The
bad.
back catalog is ridiculous. And then imagine, right, in my situation, because I'm in that situation, you don't have that burden, thank God. But when you have other games on other consoles, like you want to play a game that doesn't come out for your platform, that comes out like on a Switch or on a PlayStation, right?
Yeah.
That you have those games as well and back catalog. Like I got games like Fist, with the little robotic cybernetic bunny rabbit that supposedly was going to come to Xbox, still hasn't come to this day, which I would love to get, right? Or I have Ultimate Alliance 3, which I would love to play somewhere else, but I got to play it on the Switch, which I never finished either. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. Time is
And
precious.
on top of that, what everything that Xbox is giving us, because they give us more than any company ever in history. In history,
Yeah. Too much. It's
too
ridiculous.
much.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's too much. At this point, I'm like, yo, just add new games on Game Pass every 2 months, just to make it a little bit manageable, because it's almost impossible at this point. I told people I'm not even beating games no more. What I'm doing is I'm gonna play every game the most as I can. When I dedicate some time, get as far as I can. If I could beat it, I beat it. If I don't, I don't. Because it's just too many games.
Dude, there's times that I'll play the game on Game Pass and I hope that it sucks. I'm not lying.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not
You
lying.
actually, that's a good point. Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I play a game and I'm like, I literally hope I
It
do not
sucks.
wreck this game. Like, like even Erock was saying that, right? He has games that he likes and he pulls it off of his hard drive because that's the reality. Like for the issues that Xbox really have that we could focus on,
Those are the real issues. Yes,
real
yes,
issues, right?
yes,
We got to deal with
yes.
all this.
That's the real issue that we have as Xbox gamers,
Yeah,
players, and in the gaming community. If you're gonna get an Xbox, or if you're thinking about it, absolutely, absolutely.
and that's
That
why
is a real issue.
it is a real issue, and that's why I'm so upset because it's not the ponies, man. Like, we deal with them. We've been dealing with them
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
forever.
Hmm, hmm.
These guys back all the way to the Sega days, man, and so it doesn't bother. I understand why they do what they do, and and I like what they're doing now because with everything going on, they catch themselves, as Zink would say, in lies, right? And it's so easy to upset them. It's so easy to twist the narrative
Yeah,
around on them because they keep
yeah.
on saying the same stuff. The thing that irked me the most this week was the Xbox guys, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. You're talking about people like Boom, people like Randall Thor. Yeah, people like Cole Eastwood. Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. And then
Not, and I name names because I keep telling people I don't name names to beef. I name names because we keep it real, or I keep it real, right? And the reality is, these guys, like I said, they could be great people in real life, but as YouTube creators, content creators, that they're supposed to be gamers, quote unquote, they don't hold a drop of water for me because I don't trust them. They don't have integrity. They don't have validity because what they do is, like I said, they follow the bag. They're not following the true nature of being a gamer.
well, and they get exposed, and that's the reason why. And look, dude, you can name. I'll name people if I can remember. I don't care. And you can name whoever
Right,
you
right.
want on this
We
podcast.
know Mooch's been lost. People like Mooch and Next Gen, forget about it. They've been lost.
And even Mooch, man. Like when Mooch first came on the scene, I listened to him, dude. But we know, both of us know, there's this brand of gamer out there that's the bro gamer. That's
Hmm,
always
hmm.
been there since the '90s, right? When gaming started becoming more popular with a more general audience, and these guys
Hmm, hmm.
are guys that are not let's be honest, dude. They're not hardcore gamers like we are, right? And that's fine. You don't need to be a hardcore gamer, but
Yes,
because
yes.
yeah, but because of social media and social media influence, and then the ability to do a YouTube channel and get views, man. A lot of these guys, man, they like again, I'll quote Zink, catch themselves in lies, right? Because they keep on exposing themselves, and that's the thing that irks me the most. Now, there's guys that I follow on Twitter, and I'm pretty sure we follow the same guys who are actually upset about the 60 frames per second. So what I do is I listen to them, and I listen to why they're upset, and it makes sense to me why they would be upset. Because as far as I've been following them, like a 60 frame per second game is a real thing for them, right? This is
Yeah.
not they're just not jumping on a bandwagon. They're just not hating on
Yeah,
Xbox.
it's like it's their actual preference, right?
It is their actual preference. These guys
Yeah,
have
yeah.
the background for it. They understand what they're saying when they talk about it, right? You know what I mean? Like you actually, when you listen or when you hear their comments and stuff, or when you read their comments, you're like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about, and yeah, this guy has been this way for the longest time.
Right.
But the thing again, I can't stand is like you were saying, right? These guys that are just, or as Lewis Frag here, Lewis is saying the same thing. The doom and gloom so-called Xbox gamers that got a channel, I unsubscribe for them. Yeah, Lewis, my circle it was small before, dude. It is non-existent. My circle is non-existent.
Yeah, I know exactly what you feel and exactly what you mean. Yep.
When I'm driving, when I have to drive a long distance, go to an appointment, or I have to go to the gym to do my therapy, dude, I am searching for Xbox content to watch. And every time I see my brother Hebot put up the only videos I can't watch for Hebot because I have to watch him at home is his unboxings and his and your collector stuff, bro.
Yeah.
But it's hard, dude. You can't find because we can't look, we're all busy, man. Like when I see something pop up from Limited, I'm happy. When Tuck pops something, I'm happy because I can listen to something about Xbox because I can't listen to anybody
Right.
else. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Because it's frustrating, and see, like me myself, to be honest, like people be like, well, why you don't make more content gaming wise? And I go, because I'm just tired of making content that I know is the real deal. I know I'm giving you true opinions that make sense,
Yeah.
true facts, things that are factual. And you just look it up, and then I get like 20 views on the fucking video. You understand?
Did
You
you ever
know, I get like 20 views. I'm
did you
like,
ever-
I'm putting the love and effort, right, to bring it out, and nobody cares, right? Except for the real people that've been that care and that actually care to show that they care about what I say in my opinions for years, right, from the very beginning, like yourself, like my brother Sega forever, Sega man, E-Rock, and in the chat, a lot of these new guys like Toolman and Sinew Lead and others Zing, you know what I'm saying? And Dakota, Vaka, right?
yeah.
These guys actually care. They care. They really legitimately care about your opinion, about what you have to say. And they listen to the other frauds as well. But they listen to see the difference and compare and contrast of what we do as that when we bring our approach as real gamers, right? And our real thoughts versus them talking only as casuals or just someone that's worrying about, I wonder how much views I'm gonna get this time around. You get what I'm trying to say?
Right,
And
so
again,
sorry. So we have that old saying, right, bro? Back in the day, game recognized.
mhm, right.
Because one of the things that impresses me about the chats, especially when I'm watching y'all's podcasts and stuff like that, everybody else's podcasts, the chat is fire, man. These guys know what they're talking about, dude. These guys,
Yeah. For the most part, most of the chats, they're actually very level headed. You see what I'm saying? And if you ever notice, a lot of the people in the chat be like, I'm glad I can finally find people that are Xbox gamers that talk gaming, that have a good mindset about it, that try to be positive, because I'm getting frustrated and sick and tired of watching people doing podcasts that call themselves Xbox gamers, and all they do is slander and shit on Xbox the entire podcast.
dude, Maddie plays, right? That dude.
Right, exactly, exactly, and you see them say it, and I think that frustration it's real, and it's gotten to a lot of people to the point where now that they're also thirsty looking for content, of positive content. So when we do stuff, even though we may not think we have an effect or that we don't have a real big appreciation, I think we make more of an impact than we realize, even though it's on a smaller scale as far as viewership. You get what I'm saying?
No, exactly.
You
Exactly.
know?
Hey Lee. Hey Lee, what's up, man? Oh,
Yeah. So
Lee the G
leave
Fury.
it.
Whoa, what's up, brother? How you been, man? I haven't talked to you in a long time, bro.
Mm, that's
Just
awesome.
yeah, just joined the live stream when I missed why we selling our Xbox. Yeah, I'm being facetious, right?
Yeah,
I'm on Xbox. I'm telling other
definitely,
people, dude.
definitely facetious.
What I'm doing is I did this video because I'm telling people because I've been doing this on Twitter. I did it like on I started doing it Tuesday, Wednesday, because it was getting ridiculous again, where people were
Yeah,
complaining
yeah, yeah.
about Xbox, and I'm like, dude, if 60 frames per second, and you haven't been honest about it, or you don't know what you're talking about, right? There's people we follow, me and about follow, that I can totally understand where they're coming from. We're not talking about those guys. We're talking about the people that is just jumping on the bandwagon or maybe ordinary. So for me, it's like if you don't like the 60 frames per second from your Xbox Series X, then you might as well just sell your console, because this game will not be
But
the only game that's not 60 frames per second.
yeah. I mean, it's nothing new. It's been said for so long. Like, for example, and I didn't mean to cut you off, brother. I apologize.
No. Go ahead. Speak
But
up.
it's been said it's been said forever. That it all depends on the game that's being created, what type of technology they're using. Because again, I keep telling people, everybody's talking about, oh, the game's not ready with 60 frames, right?
Yeah.
But they seem to forget somehow, conveniently, how the game's going to be in 4K, how it has HDR, Dolby Vision HDR, how it's going to have ray tracing, and plus how the game is going to support Dolby Atmos surround. You get what I'm trying to say?
No, 100%.
Hey, what's up, man? And I'm like, hold on, wait a second. How are you overlooking all of that with untethered co-op and an actual campaign and multiplayer component with an old Unreal Engine 4 that we know was not built for next generation, and yet they're still accomplishing all these great goals like ray tracing on a console, right? A console, mind you, that you're buying and playing a fraction of the cost of what you would have to pay to play on a PC, for example, right?
Right. Hey, Hebot. Hey, brother. You're botting a little bit, bro. Yeah.
To my house now, no problem with it.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead. Are you there, bro? Yeah, I guess Hebot is in flux right now. But yeah, so let's go to Lewis's comment till Hebot drops back in or jumps back in. I get constructive criticisms, but 3 to 4 days straight bashing Xbox. Exactly. That's the irritating part. Um, bashing Xbox now, that's going too far, and wondering why they're getting backlash from actual gamers. Right. Look, and I understand there are people out there making valid points, right? But I'm at a point now where if you keep on, like you're saying, Lewis, if you keep on, constructive criticism is great, but if you keep on whining about it, and then on top of whining, you're like, oh, maybe I'll just sell my Xbox. So that's what I've been doing, bro. People, as soon as I see that on Twitter, I look at these people and I'm like, okay, you know what? Then sell your Xbox.
You hear me, brother?
Sell your Xbox because you're not going to be happy. Oh, okay, keep on.
Can you hear me now, brother?
Yeah, are you in? Are you okay? I see you. I
Yeah,
hear
I'm
you.
in the house. I'm just, it's that when you get into the elevator, into the house, the transition of the changing from LTE to Wi-Fi always happens.
Dude, it just amazes me we can do this, man. Because I'm all the way in Hawaii and you're all the way in New Jersey, right? So
Yes, yes.
yeah. So
What was the last thing you heard me saying, so I can repeat wherever I left off?
yeah, where were you? Shoot, I forgot them because I moved on to Lewis's comment.
Let's go.
Because I said on Lewis, because Lewis is basically making a great point, which is this is the reason why I'm doing this podcast, right? Because it's irritating to me to have 3 to 4 days of straight bashing Xbox. You know? It's like say your piece, talk about what you want to talk about, right? Because I know there's some people that are disappointed. Also,
Yes.
hold Microsoft accountable, right? Because Microsoft did say the 60 frames per second, which they are still going to do, right? But I can understand that, right? And so if you bought the console specifically for 60 frames per second, right, and you're not going to get that, and it bothers you, right? Then speak your piece. If it's bothering you so much that you're talking about it 3 4 days in a row, then the next step maybe you should do is just leave the ecosystem.
Right. Well, that's what I was trying to say. I don't know if you was hearing me when I was talking.
Yeah,
It's how convenient.
Yeah,
It's it's how conveniently they seem to ignore the fact that the game is going to run in 4K, that the game is going to be four-player co-op untethered, that the game is still running on Unreal Engine 4, which is an old last generation engine, that the game will support Dolby Vision HDR, that the game will support Dolby Atmos surround, right?
Yes.
And that you'll still have the capabilities of adding ray tracing to the game, right?
Right.
All out of a console box, with a fraction of the cost for what you would have to pay to play it on a PC, which doesn't even give you some of those features, because I believe there's no PC card that to this day that still doesn't support Dolby Atmos surround, right? And remember, keeping in mind that Microsoft is letting you play these games that are party on dedicated servers for free, as opposed to when you play it on PC. If you want to play on dedicated servers, you have to pay for that, right?
Yes.
For those servers. Now, they're taking any of that into consideration. All they're worrying about is the frame rates, even though they also, on top of that, for to add insult to injury, promised the frames per second in 60 at a later time. You see? It's different if they were promising 60 frames per second right from the beginning, since they started development. Yes, this game will absolutely be 60 frames. This game will, yes, we have no issues running it in 60 frames. Yes, you will be playing at the best frames possible. You see what I'm trying to say? If they were promising this the entire time, meaning Arcane Studios, right?
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, said, by the way, that 60 frames, we're not going to have that. Then I could understand the backlash. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I can understand the backlash, because then it's well deserved, well warranted, because they made a promise and they were hyping it up the whole time that it would have it. And now here we go, it doesn't have it. You see what I'm saying? Because then that's irresponsibility on the developer's part. You see what I'm saying?
So here's where here's where I push back a little bit, right? Because the thing that irritates me about this, when people start telling me like the complaints we've been seeing on social media, what happens with me, right, is then I start looking at that person who's complaining and start dissecting them, right?
Okay. Which is rare, which makes a lot of sense. That's the way it should be.
Because I want to hear, right? I want to hear, if you're an Xbox guy, you bleed green, you rep the brand, right? And you actually own the system. So that's another thing, dude. Do you own? I've been asking people on Twitter. Do you own an
Right.
Xbox?
Do you own the system? Right.
Do you own an Xbox Series X? Do you have Game Pass? Right? Do you play the games you're complaining about? And then for the most part, I already know what the answer is, right? It's no. It's a big no for most
Really?
But then the guys that do have the system, right? The problem I have with you guys doing this, like Lewis is saying, for 3 or 4 days, and then become upset and then start disrespecting people that are subscribed to you, people within the Xbox community.
Here.
The problem is, I start looking at you and it tells me things, right? Is that you don't pay your game.
You five. Yeah, give me $1 more. Go ahead.
The problem I'm having with that is that by looking at the things you're saying, I understand one thing: you do not play your games.
Yeah, absolutely. No one that doesn't play on the console, and I'm sorry, I'm just trying to add to what you're saying. I'm sorry to cut you off. No one that's not playing on the console, right, or has no intentions on playing on the console, should have nothing to say. Nothing. Because the reality of it is, right, these are the same guys, right, that are going to play something like The Legend of Zelda in May, right, or
Yes.
when it comes out, and the game's going to drop to 15 frames, and they're still going to say it's Game of the Year. They're still going to say how amazing it is. You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think
These are the same dudes.
you were saying that earlier, right, in the podcast with a couple other games. Like, what was the biggest? Elden Ring. Weren't you saying that about Elden Ring?
Just like Elden Ring, right? They're the same guys who play Elden Ring, where you can't jump into water, where you can't platform onto any rocks. You don't have no type of verticality with grappling hooks or anything like that. It's just roll, parry, run away. Right? That's the basis of the, and then you use your magics when you get your powers, and you got to get the right kind of equipment or the right kind of armory so that you're strong enough so that you can fight certain sets of creatures, because it's like a boss barrage type game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And these are the same dudes that'll play that and be like, oh my God, this is the greatest game of all time. So satisfying. I don't care if I die 500 times. It's great. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what you were saying on the podcast. I laughed when you said
Like what? Dude, I don't have time to die 500 times to beat one boss and stay in the game for almost 3 months just to finish it. I don't have time for that. There's too many games to play, too many movies to watch, too many women to conquer, too many activities to go out and do for me to be worrying about one game doing the stupid stuff that you got to do just so that you can pass it and achieve what you need to do. I'm sorry.
and
I
that's another
hate Souls games. Hate them.
well, that's another thing, dude. You bring up a great point because there's a lot of gamers like that that'll do that. And if that's your thing, fine. I don't care what you do.
Right. If that's all you do, then that's good on you, right? Because you have the right to do that.
But then these very same guys come back. Like these are the guys that'll be commenting on Redfall, right? And then that irks me because I'm like, dude, you play maybe 1 or 2 games. You're definitely not in our
A
ecosystem.
year.
Right. And on the Xbox side, all these Xbox guys is, dude, I have no respect for your opinion. I'm not gonna listen to you at all because if you're an Xbox guy, you're in the Xbox ecosystem. It's been what, since 2015 when Phil Spencer started talking about the bigger picture. And if you haven't picked up on what's going on with Xbox, then just leave, dude. Just sell your console, get out of the ecosystem, and go play PlayStation 5, right? Or go play the Switch.
I mean, good luck with that, right? Because that's the other thing. They're acting like if they leave, like they're going to get better treatment on a PS5 or a Nintendo Switch. That's the funniest part.
Well,
If you're
for me,
going on the Switch, you're going to play back in the 360 era. That's what you're doing, right? Because that's the quality of their game. The highest thing you get is 1080p, right? And they got no Game Pass services, nothing like that, right? And if you're playing on a PlayStation, you're still playing cross-gen games. Nothing next gen, nothing that's new, nothing that you have to get a PS5 in order to play. You don't have no Game Pass. You don't have fucking features like Dolby Atmos or Dolby Vision HDR. You see what I'm saying? Or co-op come gameplays, because most of their games, they're not co-op and they don't have online components. They're mostly single player. So they acting like, saying I'm going to sell my Xbox. Okay, and what you think you're going to get better treatment somewhere else? Like, you sound stupid.
yeah, that's why it's just hating on Xbox, right?
Right.
Yeah, let me read this comment real quick. Oh, good. LOL. No need to sell my 4 different Xbox systems. I did notice on the gaming front again, people crying about 60 frames per second for games that don't need 60 frames per second. Yeah, dude. Honestly, and that's another thing, dude, that irks me about this, man. Again, if you are in the Xbox ecosystem, you are not just playing AAA title games, right? You're playing indie games. You're playing AA games. You're having actual experiences on the Xbox side. And if you're and again, I don't expect the PlayStation people to know this. Dude, on Twitter right now, these guys is rolling out Horizon Zero Dawn gameplay clips and stuff like that. And I don't care about Horizon Zero Dawn, right? And if you're an Xbox guy in the ecosystem, this is not what it's all about. We are not a third party, only a AAA title. And me and Hebot have talked about this ad nauseum for years. I can't stand it, dude, because to me, just like JRPGs, I love JRPGs. I love content from Tokyo, man. I'm a huge. We grew up in that generation, dude. We come from of gaming where Japan dominated and set the trends. We know what it is, right? And we're not jaded, dude. But what we are is that gaming. We're honest with each other, right? We understand that gaming has changed, which is odd because we're old. Both of us are old, and we're the more flexible ones in the gaming community when we should be the grouchy old guys, right?
Right. We should be the ones that are like set in our ways. We don't want to accept changes and understand them. Because it's not just accepting them, it's understanding why change is a necessity. Like,
It's
for
like me and you.
example,
It's just like me and you not playing a Sonic game ever again because Yuji Naka is not working at Sonic Team.
involved. Yeah, it's just not the same. Right. It doesn't feel the same. Right.
Yeah, but we're still playing. It doesn't make sense for
We'll
us to.
still try it. Right.
Yeah, maybe we might like it, maybe we don't like it. Just like with Redfall. Redfall, look, like you ran up a litany of stuff, and I'm glad you guys did the podcast because you guys brought that up. A litany of things that will be on Redfall, right? We've already played Deathloop, right? We already know that Arcane has pedigree when it comes to the games that they're doing. The only thing you can
Yes.
look at with Arcane is they're kind of stepping out of their comfort zone, right?
Yes.
To do something a little bit out of their comfort zone, right? But the reason why I give them the benefit of the doubt when it comes to this is because they're on the shooter box. Right? They're owned by Microsoft, who is known as making shooter games, right? And they have a plethora of resources to them. They have the time that they need to develop it, right? They can do all this stuff with it, and Microsoft is allowing them to do that, right? So this is
Right.
why I'm pretty high on the game. As far as now, if the game comes out and it sucks for whatever reason, right? You know what I'll do? I just won't play it.
Right.
Right. Like right now, me and Hebot are both. This is kind of a pop culture cast. Me and Hebot are huge pop culture fans, right? We follow stuff like Star Wars, right? Right now, if you're a Star Wars fan, it's there's some stuff that's good, a lot of stuff that's bad. So
Right.
right. If I don't like what Disney's giving me with Star Wars, I cancel my Disney Plus, right?
Or I just watch what I want and that's it. Keep it moving.
Keep it moving. So this is why I'm doing this, right? Because right now I'm just tired, dude. I'm tired of hearing people that say you're Xbox, right? But then you're constantly complaining about this stuff.
Because it gets nauseating, brother. It gets nauseating. It gets nauseating. It gets nauseating because it's like a broken record, and then you try to fix it, and it still comes back. You see what I'm saying?
Well, and then that's the thing that gets me too, right? Because I'm like sitting there, guys, looking at these Xbox guys, like, do you understand that the only reason this is an issue is it's just cannon fodder for a stupid console war?
Yeah. That's the real reason.
Yeah. And there's guys out there making legitimate points, right? But then you make your legitimate point, and then you know what I do? I go back and try and find some time to play like a Dragon Ishin. Or I play Ni no Kuni 2, which totally blows me away. That game. It was nothing. Was I heard people talk about the game, right? And then what they're telling me about the game, what they didn't like about the game. I absolutely love the game, right? Because it's not like the first one, and I love the first one. They did something different with the second one. But if I listen to people tell me it's not like the first one, and that's why it sucks, and I listen to them and I skip it, I would have missed out on the experience because I love it. And I'm not saying that to be like, oh, I love it because nobody. No, dude, they do stuff in the game that I like, dude. It's basically an action RPG, which is great, right? There's a storyline to it, of course, right? You got all the bells and whistles of it looking like a live action anime that I'm playing. But then there's like simulator stuff in the game, which I wasn't expecting. And nobody talked about, right? Because it wasn't like the first game, they just hated on that second game. And had I listened to them, right, I wouldn't be experiencing the game. Dude, I was into Ishin, and then that Ni no Kuni 2 took me away from that. So I'm trying to balance out, right? Trying to play both of these games, which are games. This is another thing about Game Pass. Game Pass isn't just one and done, like you guys have on PS5, right?
Right.
You have all these one and done great AAA titles. Well, we don't have that problem here on Xbox, right? So what
Game Pass is a ongoing giving service.
Right. And
Ongoing giving service.
Both of these games, it's hard because these are games that you just don't finish, especially the way I play. Because there's some people that'll just stick to the story and go through it, but I don't want to do that, dude. Dude, I spend like 2 hours chopping wood and like to get money, and I just like it. It's a fun. It's what Sega's known for is their mini games.
Well, it's like Sea of Thieves. When I'm playing it one time with my daughter, I was just having fun making sure that we kept getting treasures and loading up the boat with everything we needed. You know what I mean? Like fruits, cannons.
Yep.
Enough boards so that if we get shot, we can cover it up and don't sink. We're just having fun doing that stuff.
Well, look at what Lee said, bro. Look, outside of Destiny and Forza series, all multiplayer games on Xbox have been running at 60 frames per second since 2013. And Destiny and Forza Horizons run magnificently at 30 frames per second in multiplayer on older Xbox. So, look, a perfect example, Lee, because it's not about holding the developers accountable sometimes. It's about letting the developers do what they do. We don't make games. This is I understand we're in the gaming community. There is a gaming culture, but we do not make games. We don't make games, right? So if you want to impress me, because of all the whining we've been doing, and I'm talking for the last 5 years, not just this year, not just for this.
Well, shit, for the last 10 years since 2013, it hasn't stopped.
If you want to impress me, I want you to put this is funny, man. My daughter, I just took her to campus because she's probably going to do video games, right? So if you really want to impress me, I want to see you make a game, whether indie, joining a big company or whatever. I want to see you make a game. And then I want you to come on social media. Then I want you to tell me what your game is so I can play it and just crap all over it. That's what I want to do, right? Look, there's this thing.
You guys don't realize. You guys don't realize that giving constructive criticism is different than hating on a game. You understand?
Yeah.
And when developers are making games, the more feedback that they see that is hate, as opposed to actual love and understanding and wanting to make the game better, that can cause them to get disencouraged, right?
Yeah.
And then it just becomes a chore. It doesn't become a labor of love for them no more. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
And you'll see the results within the game. And for that, we'll get a worse game than a better game. So that's also a point because they're human beings at the end of the day. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, just like Radiance right here is saying, bro. It's like Xbox has so many games this year. And
But Radiant is one of those Xbox guys that plays everything just like me. But he's always said it. These petty arguments or these petty disagreements are just a form of them showing their hate for Xbox and not wanting to accept that Xbox is doing better for gaming the industry as a whole. That's it.
Yeah.
And that narrative, because more people start to buy Xbox and realize it, right? Because it's just going to grow, especially when people start to realize how Game Pass is just going to get better and better, right?
Yep.
Then you don't have that market cap of like, let's say the Xbox will have the same amount of consoles as PlayStation out there. It won't just be PlayStation only and no Xbox. Then everything's going to have to change forcefully because even the media is not going to have no way to downplay or make content to create content to hate on Xbox. So just so they can get views. That clickbait shit ain't gonna work.
Dude, I would even respect the clickbait stuff in a way, but then it's just the total ignorance of the people.
Well, Hi-Fi Rush proved clickbait don't work.
Yeah.
Because once something is praised by the gamers as opposed to the media, or as opposed to some dummy that has a big following on YouTube, like let's say Ninja, right? That plays the game and says, I don't really like this game because he likes to play on nothing but Fortnite, let's say, right?
Yeah.
Then automatically, their credibility, nobody's going to care. They're going to lose. Nobody's going to follow it. So the gamers that actually play games were the ones who got their hands first on Hi-Fi Rush.
Yes.
And what happened? 98 Metacritic score by the gamer user score. So now, everybody else didn't have no choice. They couldn't shit on the game. Even the ones that try to be funny and give it a bad score, they were like, it's like that he didn't even exist. They're like, whatever. You know what I mean?
Then they fall back on that narrative. Well, this is not my type of game. Well, dude, that game alone, it's a certain type of game, but there's so much stuff in there, dude. So when people say stuff like that, I automatically look. It's like you don't play the game. You might own an Xbox, but you ain't in the ecosystem, and you're not playing Game Pass, right? Like I said, you complain you complain you have the righteous indignation, right? Righteous
Mm-hmm.
indignation as an Xbox person who paid $500 something and you were expecting all the games to have FPS, right? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you know, one like we've been saying, you know, one or like Lewis was saying, 1 or 2 days for that, right? But then at some point, right after all is said and done, for me personally, if it bothered me, which it doesn't, if it
Mm-hmm.
bothered me, I'd be like, okay, that sucks, and then I go play Vampire Survivor, or at least something as stupid. And this was my daughter called me on this, dude. When she saw me playing it, dude, I was addicted to Power Washer. I was addicted to this. And my daughter, like, well, Dad, you know, you can do that for real. And she wasn't being like a wise ass or anything like that. She just said something. Dude, I have to stop playing the game because I'm like, I have stuff to do around the house. And I heard I'm playing a game with stuff that I could be doing, fixing stuff around the house, right? So I kind of,
Right.
and I still play it to be honest with you,
So
but
you took it as motivation, basically.
well, I just wait for her to not be here. But that's the thing about it, dude. And the way that Bethesda especially and their development team does games, the great thing I love about Microsoft owning Bethesda is that Bethesda already has a built-in fan base. Okay. So we don't have
Mm-hmm.
to really worry about it, right? So I don't think Bethesda realized how bad it was being under Microsoft. Like I could tell, like I forgot the guy's name. I know there's Howard, but the other dude, right? Is who's the marketing person or he's the mouthpiece
Mm-hmm.
for Bethesda. I don't mean that in a bad way, right? He's like the main guy. Pete Hines, sorry. And I remember him getting interviewed, and he was just blown away. They weren't expecting the hate. They got full because they weren't part of Microsoft. Now that they're part of Microsoft, they getting full frontal and understand now the hate that people have for Microsoft because they're part of Microsoft now, right? Like that
Mm-hmm.
video talking about that baptism by fire. Like, yeah, welcome to the family, dude. This is what you get to expect. But the great thing about Bethesda, and the reason why Redfall, right? I'm not too worried about Redfall, is because Bethesda fans, right? They have a Bethesda has their own fan base, and there's nobody harder on on their games than their own fan base. It's crazy.
And no fan, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like us as parents, right? When people come to me about my kids and they tell me my kids did something, and then I'll listen to the person, but I'm like, no. Or if they did mess up, I'll correct them. But if they tell me something that's outrageous, I'm like, no, my kids don't do that. And they're like, why? And I tell people right after because nobody's harder than on my kids than I am. Nobody.
Right.
When my kids mess up, I'm right there. I'm on them. Right.
Right.
And so,
Right.
so this is why I actually like the Bethesda fan base because they'll keep them in check. And this is another thing for Microsoft that gets me. If you're a Microsoft fan, you should understand that you will get the patch and that Microsoft will do this because they get so much hate. They cannot not do it.
Right. Right.
And me and Hebon have talked about this in nauseum again. We've talked about this for years. It's the only silver lining that comes out of all this hate is everything you have now was built by hate and ponies and
Yes. It was built by motivation of hate. Right. Mm-hmm.
everything
Mm-hmm.
you get now, right? Because you guys weren't happy with 2013, which both me and Hebot was, right? And we didn't lie about it, right? We understand what Microsoft was doing. We just came off of the 360 era, right? We knew what Microsoft
Mm-hmm.
was do, right? But the media got involved and all these haters jumped in and they flipped the script and then Microsoft changed everything, right?
Well, you know what impressed me so much too. Sorry, brother. I didn't mean to cut you off like that.
Right, good.
When I saw how Microsoft handled the whole red ring of death situation with the 360, which any other company would have probably closed down, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That's why I kept my faith in 2013 when I saw all the negativity. Like, oh, it's not going to be able to do 1080p games. They're not going to be able to do this. I kept my positive. I was saying, no, they're going to do it because they figured out how to do the HDMI on the fucking console during that 360 era. They figured out how to do actual 1080p games. If you remember, it was 720p at the beginning.
Yeah.
And everything that they got criticized and critiqued for during the 360 era, they fixed and they handled everything.
Yeah.
And that's why the console kept selling as well as it did. And then the customer service was beyond great with what they did with that Red Rings of Death. I was very impressed. And then I knew how I was treated with the PS3, where I freaking bought. I think I told you the story. I bought Uncharted, the PSP version, right? On their store because I thought you could play it on the PS3. But it was so that you could play it through remote play, right?
Yeah.
And the game cost me like what, $15? I think it was 15 at the time. And it took them almost a month just to reimburse me $15. Oh, we got to do a background check. We got to make sure this is not this is legitimate. That you're not being hokey dokey. I'm like, what? Meanwhile, I had my son, right? Because he was still young and silly, didn't really know what he was doing. During the 360 era, he used to like buying V points for the basketball game. Right? For the NBA and also for the Madden.
Yeah.
And so what happened was one day, he asked me to buy something. I said yes. He used my credit card, but what he did was he accidentally picked one of the packages that charged like a bunch of money. Long story short, it was going to cost like $3,000 for all the shit he bought. Yeah. But he told me immediately, "Oh, Pops, I'm sorry. I didn't know what I was doing. Look." And so I called them, and I kid you not, I think within an hour, all the money was back in the card. And not only that, they told him he can keep the stuff.
Wow.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All those experiences is what made me never look back. When I saw that, oh, hell no, I'm not looking back. There's no point. And then when I saw them do the Game Pass, forget it. And everything else that we got, from games to the new features, Snap, the fucking mixer, everything that they tried to do, I was like, oh, no. These guys are going to keep trying until they perfect whatever they need to do. And that's why I don't worry about it. It's like you said, they don't have the luxury to sit back in their butt like Sony does, right?
Yeah.
And let their fucking fan base carry them. Microsoft doesn't have that luxury because they don't have a real fan base, except for the few selectors like us that are hardcore.
Yeah, Xbox has no fan base. I've been saying that since
their fan base is weak, because you got a person like Randall Thor, for example, that has a big following, and Cole Hazelwood or Boomstick, right?
Yeah. 1
week they're saying amazing things about how they love Xbox, and then the minute that one little thing comes out, like what's been going on with Redfall, no, that's unacceptable. Xbox has to do better. Every first-person shooter or every first-party game has to be to the highest quality at all times. Like, what? You do realize we're still working with last-generation fucking engines, right, dummies?
Oh yeah, so they're reactionary, right? So like Red Gray, can we get Randolph, Thor, Dealer, and Dark Eastwood to they become ponies? They always have the worst takes. Have bad games. People assume they represent Xbox fans because they don't. Yeah, Red Gray, absolutely 100%. Just like Ebot is saying, dude. So it's time. Look, let's just be perfectly honest. Of all of those guys, dude, Dealer is probably the only one that I've watched his videos up in like the last. He's like the only person that I've actually followed. But I don't watch any of these guys. I haven't watched them in years because of this, dude. I mean, to me, they're not Xbox guys. They're game. They want to be gaming channels, which is fine, right? They might predominantly play on Xbox and stuff like this. But right now when stuff like this happens, like Heba was saying, because I saw that switch with the 360, because I played COD, right? So when what Microsoft found out in the 360 era, and they were transitioning to Xbox One. The thing that Microsoft found out is that they don't have fans. At least not hardcore fans. Not like me and Heba. Me and Heba are hardcore Sega fans. And we're old school arcade gamers. Right? That's in our blood. And that's the kind of fans that Xbox needs. But as you can see, Xbox doesn't have these type of fan base. It's just like Star Wars has a fan base that no matter how much Disney screws that, they'll still be there. And I'm guilty. I'm one of them, dude. It's like I don't watch most of the stuff. I don't like what Disney's doing. I go to GameStop, right? And I just bought the Fifth Brother. I bought the Black Series Fifth Brother because he looks cool and he's a Star Wars.
Right.
This is what fan bases are. This is what fan bases do, right? This is
or at least the true fan base.
Yeah, the hardcore, right? Like it's not just about like making a video. It's not about being invited to E3, even though we won't have it this year, right? It's not that. It's not that Phil Spencer, Iron Wolf. that
Yeah,
you
yeah,
choose people to Phil Spencer, that you're in the circle. That makes no difference to me when the takes you have on gaming is absolute trash.
yeah, yeah.
So thanks for the comment, Red Gray. Absolutely 100%.
It's also the different the true meaning of fandom or fan base is also when no matter how things go to the good times and to the rough times, it's like a marriage, like a relationship. You still stick it out, right?
Yeah,
Because you actually are a real fan,
yeah,
like a football player fan. Like if you're a fucking Cleveland Brown fan, God bless you, right?
yeah. Those
Or
guys are.
because they haven't won a Super Bowl in like what 100 years, like let's just say, right?
I don't think they ever won a Super
Right. That's what I'm trying to say. Or
Bowl.
but they still fans
Right.
because that's the true meaning and definition of a fandom or a fan for anything that you're a fandom of, right?
Well,
And that what
let,
did you that huh?
let me jump in real quick. So you're saying about Cleveland Brown, like I'm a Steeler fan, right? So the thing with the Cleveland Browns and the Steelers and teams like that, especially old NFL teams, right, is because they're from that area. So that fan base comes from that area. It's ingrained in that fan base. And so the correlation I'm going to make with that is like gaming, right?
But
Me
you're
and you
not.
grew up in arcade games. We grew up on the older systems. We grew up on these certain companies, right? We grew up
Hmm.
when it was small and niche and nerdy,
Hmm.
it was not a general population kind of thing, right? And over time, it has grown. But even though it has grown, dude, we still maintain that type of rabid fan. Well, we've changed. We've gotten older. We're not as jaded too, right? But that's the kind of fans we come from, and the fans we have now are nothing like that. Sorry, I didn't mean to
Oh,
cut you. I just wanted to throw that in.
no, no, no. I was just adding to what you're saying that's what you mean by real fan base. Like real fans stick it out
Yes.
because every company goes through ups and downs, right? But it seems to me like the only fan base that know how to do that are Nintendo fans, right?
Yeah.
But Nintendo fans are also kind of cultists because they don't do nothing but Nintendo. You get what I'm trying to say?
Well, Xbox, we need those people. We need those type of Xbox.
Like
No,
Nintendo fans are not like, okay, we're Xbox fans, me and you, right?
yeah.
But if you see a game like Bayonetta 2 and 3 that we like and love and appreciate, or Ultimate Alliance 3 on Nintendo, we'll still play it or buy it to play those games on Nintendo. Nintendo fans, they don't care. They just play Nintendo.
Yeah.
It don't matter what's on what, how good it looks. No, it's all about Mario, Metroid, or Zelda. They will not play nothing else other than Nintendo. And for me, that's cultist mentality because you can like Nintendo better than any other company, but there are other things and other companies out there that give you stuff that are worth trying and taking a look at. And as a gamer that you are, you should also embrace them and give it a chance and not just not play them just because it doesn't say Nintendo on the box.
Yeah, but
You see what I'm saying?
I'll say this, dude. I'm jealous, dude. I'm jealous. Right now, I'm jealous. This is why I'm making this podcast. This is why I'm telling leave. Like Radiant says, man, sell your Xbox. That's why I'm doing this podcast because I'm jealous of Nintendo guys because I haven't seen any Nintendo guys comment on this because, like you said, they're in their own cult-like status, right? It's like the
Yep.
Mandalorian. Dude. If you watch the Mandalorian, right, the Mandalorian belongs to the what is it, Children of the Watch, and these dudes are cultists, right? This is the way.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
It's-
Well,
it's-
that whole comment of this is the way, people don't even realize it was because David Filoni and Fabro, right?
yeah,
They put it in there kind of like to as an indirect to Kathleen Kennedy to try to let her know that that is what fans want. This is the way. Like this is what they want for Star Wars. This is what they want as Star Wars fans, not having every single show be about women, right? That only women are important in Star Wars now, not men. Or for example, like the Acolyte, that it's a whole world based off women only. You see what I'm trying to say?
yeah, dude. And then that's a conversation we can have on another podcast. No, 'cause
Right, right.
I want to talk about that because I actually watched the Star Wars celebration, and
Me
dude,
too. Me too.
it was awesome because there's just this air of uncomfortability. it's like when you're in a meeting at work.
Yeah. Especially every interview they did with Kathleen, you could just see her face when she would come out, and they wouldn't even cheer for her. And she'd be like, "God damn!" You could tell on her face that she knows she's not hated, so she keeps fucking with them because that's what she's doing. She's like, "Oh, they don't like me. Okay, I'll just keep doing what they don't like. That's it. I'm gonna piss them off."
She's sensitive and she's old school Hollywood. Right?
Plus, she has power, so she's using her power to piss off the fan base on purpose because they don't like her. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, like I say, she's old school Hollywood. She grew up in a time when they wielded that type of power, but Hollywood's not like that anymore. But let me see. Yeah, so Radiance, man, thanks for stopping in. Gogo, what's up, bro? Yeah. Gogo Pole here. Hey, well, we dropped. He'll be back in, guys. Radiance 96, yeah, Xbox has a lot of games this year, and people forget the third party on Game Pass, like new games almost every week. Yeah, Gogo, that's why I'm saying, dude. I don't have any. I'll be honest with you. I don't think these guys, the guys that talk the most, they're talking the most because they're not playing the games. They're not. They might have Game Pass. I even doubt that. But even if they have Game Pass, these guys are not playing. They're not playing Game Pass. They're not playing the Game Pass because I don't know how you can sit there. Like you can have your 1 or 2 comments about the 60 frames per second. There's, like I said, there's guys on Twitter I'm following. Peter Oval is one of them, and he makes legitimate. What is it? He makes legitimate complaints. I say, and I can tell that he's an Xbox guy, and he said his piece, and then now he's moving back on to Xbox, right? Because then we're getting attacked by ponies, right? Then you have to deal with them, right? Because this is console war BS, and so I can understand that 100%, right? But like you're saying, dude, when I listen to these guys constantly talk about it or constantly drone on about it, I'm like, dude, you should have been over this, and you should have been on Game Pass. You should be playing your games on Game Pass if you have Game Pass, or your backlog of games, like Hebot was saying earlier. Oh, there he is. Hey, welcome back, brother. But like Hebot was saying earlier, dude, the level of backlog we have as Xbox guys is absolutely ridiculous, man. I wasn't being facetious when I was talking about. I think Microsoft, for me personally, I wouldn't mind if they slow down a little bit because it's just too many games. Because the way Game Pass works, of course, we all know this, right? They put the games in there. The great thing is they keep them there for a long time.
Dude, 2 days after Redfall comes out, we finally get Everlock.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah. Oh, so do these guys? So here's the thing, Hebot, though. This is why, again, man, we got to call these dudes out because they're supposed to be gamers. You're supposed to be Xbox guys. You supposedly love the ecosystem and what Microsoft is doing, but by your comments and your action, it doesn't show me that at all.
Right.
Like you said, you should be happy because you got Ravenlock because that's based off of the Echo game, right? Developers, right? So they basically did that. They released their game. That game did well. They got attention, and they went full bore into their next game, and they're putting it on Game Pass. These are the people that I support, dude. So like, so if Redfall, which I'm not saying they are, right? So if Arcane messed the game up and was trying to take advantage of us and was just trying to do a quick turnover, make some money, right? Take advantage, they weren't going to make a great game. All the stuff they're being accused of. If Arcane was actually like that, right? And they actually did that when the game comes out, right? They half-assed it, and we're getting a horrible product. I'll just go play something else, right? It's just like Sifu came out. I see people excited about it. Look, I'm sorry, dude. Sifu looks like a cool game. I know we're getting the full pack and stuff like that, but you didn't bleed green, bro. You went on PlayStation. You went on them first.
Just to play the game, right?
Yeah. So you know what you do? You get in the back of the line for me. I'm not saying I'm not going to play.
Even though you knew it was coming to Xbox. Yes, Sifu, my son bought it. Yeah. I said I'll play it when it comes to Xbox. But again, it's another game that's overrated because I guarantee you when I play it, it's not going to touch something like, that other beat 'em up I told you about. That's incredible. That's from the same guys who did Jitsu Squad, Fighting Rage.
Yeah,
that's more with the 8-bit style, but it's a beat 'em up that looks like Scott Pilgrim. That game as a beat 'em up is incredible.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And I guarantee you, Sifu's not going to give me the satisfaction that game gave me.
Yeah, so that's another thing, dude. We have games that you can be playing again, and that tells me if you're so hyped on Sifu, you haven't played the other 3 games that are on Game Pass right now that are like Sifu. You might not like it, like the one from Taiwan. Yeah, we have that game in there, right? We have this other game that I like, and I was playing it. The only problem I have, we lost you, but he'll drop that game. The only problem I have with that game, and I wish I could remember the name because I really do like it, is that it's one of those games that you play that I'll play, and then there's a leveling up kind of system, which is not bad, and I'm not complaining about that. But it's something, it attacks something that I have a problem with right now, me personally, is time, right? Is time, right? For those of you guys who play Dragon Ishin or Ishin that like it like I do. Some people don't like that game because of all the mini games and stuff like that. This is why I'm a huge Sega fan, because I like when they do that kind of stuff. So I find myself doing stuff like chopping wood, or doing something like singing karaoke, right? And there's a method to the madness. There's reasons why you do it in the game, but I get addicted to that kind of stuff, and it's one of those things where like 4 hours later, right? Because you just get caught up in the game, right? And then I get caught up in the game, and then I get basically stuck, you know, not playing all the other games, right? But if you're a fan of Sifu and stuff like that, fine. I'm not complaining about that. It's there. You went and bought it. Great. It looks like a cool game, but again, for me personally, dude, you go to the back of the line, because you wasn't here day one with us. You made a choice. You made a business choice, and I'm not hating on you for making that business choice. I understand you made a business choice. Fine. There's people that do that with Xbox, but for me as
Mm-hmm.
an Xbox guy, and a guy that bleed green and that actually uses the ecosystem, that actually uses Game Pass,
Mm-hmm.
you go to the back of the line. You didn't even have the courtesy though to come into Game Pass. Maybe
Yep.
I'll give you a pass if you come into Game Pass and let me try your game,
Yep.
and then I'll at least.
Dude,
Oh, go ahead, bro.
brother, did you forget that we got games like Trek to Yumi day one
Yeah.
on Game Pass?
Yes.
That we
What's that
got
called?
that other game, Metro Express. I think is that beat 'em up, top down beat 'em up. I
Yeah.
think it's Midnight Express. I think it's called.
Which is done by which are done by I don't know. It's either Humble Games, 505, and
Right.
the developers I'm focusing on.
Which is another cool beat 'em up
Yeah.
that has a lot of RPG elements as far as the level up system, and it's fun. We had games like Redeemer with the monk, a top down beat 'em up, which is incredible on
Which I
Game
bought.
Pass as well.
Which I
You
bought.
know,
Those of you guys out there that say we don't buy games, all the games.
right, right. Hi-Fi Rush, we had day one. Scorn, we had day one. The Ascent, we had. Look, you know what get me mad even the most when these dudes do shit like this, especially like developers. Like they did, Ascent was on Game Pass, right? It was exclusive for a while. Then they put it on PlayStation and they gave them a physical copy. And then when they said they were going to bring the physical copy for Xbox, oh, we can no longer do it.
Yeah.
That's what get me mad. Shit like that, because these developers get they're open doors, so to speak, by Xbox. They get paid up front, guaranteed, without knowing if the game's going to sell at all. So Microsoft takes the risk, pays them up front. Fine, well, it's on Game Pass, and then not only that, they split whatever earnings they get if people still buy it or from that point or whatever. And then they go and put it on PlayStation and get nothing for it. They just, yeah, okay, put it on PlayStation. We'll make us a physical copy, okay, because that's a demand that Sony does. They make them a physical copy, and then they don't want to do one for Xbox. Like, are you serious?
Yeah.
You get what I'm trying to say?
That's the reality of what we're dealing with, dude. And
Like, what the fuck?
And
They did
again,
that with Joe and Mac. They did that with the Final Vendetta, the other beat 'em up that's very reminiscent to Final Fight.
Yeah.
You know which one I'm talking about, where Muchmouth did the voiceover for one of the guys. You know, the guy from Digital Foundry,
I'm
which
pretty
I call him Muchmouth.
Yeah, I'm pretty
You know,
sure.
Richard, not
Yeah.
Richard, John. John Letterman did the voiceover for one of the characters in that game in Final Vendetta.
Right.
And I supported it. I bought the game. It's a physical copy on PlayStation and a physical copy on the Switch. There's no physical copy on Xbox. Then when you ask, oh, can you bring it? Because I would love to own it as physical. So if someday this gets taken out of the store, I can own it physically, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh no, we can't do that at this time, or we have no plans. Like, why? And then they don't give you an answer. That fucking pisses me off. Oh my god, you don't know how much that irates me.
Which is
You
why
know?
Microsoft is buying their own studios. Right?
That was the whole reasoning why. Because that was another point that you were hitting talking about earlier, where I got cut off with you, where you were talking about how you saw the growth of Call of Duty and Xbox coming into 2013 with the new Xbox console. They started to shift their approach to certain things because they saw that they did all these third-party deals with a lot of people in the 360 era and even OG era, to be honest, when they first started. And they had no gain because these developers, as soon as they got a chance to go somewhere else, they did it. They ran, went somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
A good example, From Software. From Software and the guys who did Guilty Gear, Arc System Works. They did a plethora of games exclusive to Xbox since the 360 and the OG, the original Xbox. Once the Xbox One era came in, they acted like the Xbox One wasn't a thing due to low sales, quote unquote, right?
Yeah.
Quote unquote low sales, but there were still people playing more and more engagement on the Xbox ecosystem, right? Even though they had the lower console count, right? And then they didn't bother to make no games. But now all of a sudden, when they made a fucking game like Elden Ring, they wanted to put it and throw it on Xbox or on Game Pass or something like, let's say, Team Ninja, like with Wulong. Even though they didn't make not one game all last generation, but they gave Sony Neo 1, Neo 2, they gave them Wulong, and now they're giving them another exclusive that they probably got paid bitch money or prostitute money for, like, they probably gave them like $10 million only or some shit, or $5 to make it exclusive, which is The Last Ronin, or The Last Ronin that's coming out, which potentially looks like one of their best games since Ninja Gaiden, because it looks like it's a hybrid of both Ninja Gaiden, Souls, and all that stuff packed in one, or Neo rather. I'm sorry. And that's a game I want to play, but now I'm forced to play it on a PS5 because they didn't put it on Xbox. But when they wanted to get that bag to putting the game on Game Pass, they were real quick to do it. You see what I'm saying? Well, that's why I said that building that narrative of build relationships organically, that is bullshit horse malarkey, because From Software showed no love to Xbox with no exclusives, even though they gave exclusives to PlayStation with something like Bloodborne, right?
Yeah, and that's all these guys have, actually, right? And that's why I'm always pushing the 50,000. The road to 50,000, man. Once the Game Pass hits that level, these guys will not be able to ignore them, right? Because at first, a lot of people are saying the reason why is because PlayStation has the bigger user base, which I do not believe they have that many people, right? And because it's a two-edged sword, dude. If you have a base that big, but you're not selling equivalently,
then you will be making money. If you did, you will be making money. So how do you have that many people, but yet you don't make no kind of nowhere near the type of money that Xbox is making?
And that's why I love the AKB deal. I know a lot of people push back on me because of that, because I knew a lot of this stuff would be exposed. And because Sony lies, dude. We know this from the 90s.
They've been doing it forever.
Yeah, because they don't look. You know the problem, guys, that you don't understand about Sony? Sony doesn't look at it like for us. We look at it as lying and being underhanded. Sony looks at it as business. They're a Japanese company. This is business to them. Right, this is all it is, right? Make their money, and this is what Japan is all about. It's like, we want to make our money. Respect, I can respect that, right? The problem is that people that are in gaming, especially on our side, right, don't realize that.
Right. Plus, another thing that they do, brother, is they want to make money. That's all they think about. But they want to also spend the least amount of money, but make a whole bunch of money. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, because they're also hurting for money, right? Like back in the 90s when they owned basically everything. They could take risks and stuff like that, but they can't do that anymore, dude. They don't dominate in anything like they used to. I know a lot of you guys want to say they're dominant games. It doesn't matter, dude. Like me, Hebot, and the other guys say, all the AAA titles. When I look at the stuff that's being produced for PlayStation right now, to me it's like the Oscars, right? You're producing that one game for that one genre for that type of gamer, right? And then you get your awards, but then everybody's watching Avengers,
right?
Or everybody
like that game, that movie that won the award, made like maybe $10 million. Meanwhile, Avengers is making $1 billion.
They get all the accolades, right? These people wear Oscars. They go on stage. They make their big speeches. It's high art. Everybody talks how beautiful it is. Meanwhile, everybody else not watching the show. It's very rare that a movie like that, an Oscar-worthy movie, there has been some that broke it. Some of it Oscars had to recognize because it wasn't in that type of genre that they like, but they
that's something like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
like Avatar.
Yeah, and they'll never win. They'll never win, but it's such a big phenomenon. That's why some of these movies, right, that you love only get the Oscar nomination for like special effects or something.
But that's it.
That's basically, to me, that's PS5 right now, right? PS5 is this box that you're gonna get single player AAA titles that everybody tells me is the creme de la creme of what gaming is.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, like everybody's focusing on that. Meanwhile, everybody else is playing Vampire Survivor.
Right, right, right. Well,
Right?
it's like the same idea behind like with the Japanese role playing games, right? That a
Yeah,
lot of them they still keep it with the old formula of turn based, right?
yeah,
Because not for nothing, turn based is basically way cheaper to do if you're gonna do an actual open free roaming RPG, right?
yeah,
It's more cost effective and it's going to be more. I mean, it's not going to be as cost effective and or efficient, and it's going to cost way more money, and they don't want to pay that, right?
yeah,
So they keep doing those old traditional turn based, and the reality of it is, with the exception of maybe a few people that actually really like turn based because they just appreciate it, turn based is a very old, dated way of playing RPGs, right?
hmm,
The whole reason for its existence, as we talked about it many times before, is because of the limitations of hardware. The only way they were able to implement long stories, long cutscenes in our era is by it was by keeping the combat where it was scripted, where you just picked it and it played it out, but it never was something that you can actually control physically with the controller, right?
yeah.
Hello,
No, no, no. Yeah,
you understand?
yeah. So
And,
what you
and that's and that's what people don't understand and they don't realize that was done. Jesus Christ, that was done by design. All that is like that by design, but not because that was they chose to do that because it was the greatest way to play an RPG. But yet you have people now hating on them evolving it when it makes sense and still want to claim that only turn based are the best. You
well,
understand what I'm saying?
this argument is all the time because a lot of these the JRPG stuff come back from the old D&D stuff, right? It's basically
Hmm.
pen and paper. It's turn based in that
We
sense.
started in America too. Thank you, brother.
So basically, what Japan did, they took that and they added their own thing, and they did a great job with that. I have no problem with that. So what
Hmm.
you're seeing now is when you fast forward to now, like a game like Uden Chronicles, right? That we'll be getting later on, right? So you take that formula, and then you kind of make it your own, and then you add whatever you need to add to it, dude. It's just like any other genre, dude. Like science fiction has existed for years, and then they keep on trying to find ways to reinvent it, or the romantic comedy, right? And there's different things you can do to make it feel like it's new again and get the people engaged. And that's basically what it is with gaming as well, right? This is what we're looking forward to. And the only place that's doing it is Xbox. The only place that's doing it is Xbox, the ID at Xbox program, right? Which you guys, if you have Game Pass, once again, right? Like look, Google says here, there are Xbox fans, they're just not as loud. Of course, Sony and Nintendo have much larger and louder fans. But Xbox does have fans and it's growing good. I agree with you to an extent, Google, but what we need fans, right? We need the hardcore fans, right? Fans that like me and Hebot sitting here on this podcast talking about this right now, right? Because we've been involved in gaming for so long. So the newer generation that comes up probably doesn't have the same kind of exposure. I know we're about the same age, Global, and experiences we have, right? So but we need that fan base in Xbox, man, because it's gonna give them a buffer, right? So when crap hits the internet like it does, right, that could bring down Redfall. Not for me, right? But in the idea of the general populace, of the general gaming populace, yeah, people might skip this game because of that, right? And I can tell you this for a fact, because I know you've been around since 2013, right? This is what happened. Like I said in the comments on Unlimited podcast, this is why when people ask, people got Game Pass, they started playing like Rise, they started playing Sunset Overdrive, and they liked the game. And then the question came around, oh, why don't we have a sequel? Or something like they'll make a comment, wow, this game is actually good, right? That's the
Yeah,
perception.
all those years later, those people never played it. They just discovered it.
Yes. Then you can talk on that, bro. The perception thing that you always talked about for the last six,
Hmm.
you know.
Well, I'm starting to see shift even in the stores
Yeah.
because I'm going to stores now and I hear these younger guys, right? The younger kids,
Hmm.
the ones that play Fortnite, that play Apex, and they're like, yo, dude, you got to get an Xbox. And they're like, why? Like, dude, man, they got fucking Game Pass. Game Pass, they give you all these games you can play day and day, exclusives, brand new games that are all. Dude, I was playing Major League on there. I had to buy it for my PlayStation. Shit like that.
Yeah.
You're starting to see. because it's being discovered little by little. You know what I mean? Like you said,
Yeah.
once they hit that 50 million spot, there's no coming back. There's no turning back. There's just no way.
Yeah. Because a lot of people will tell me when I say that, it's like, oh, Xbox it has nothing to do with Xbox, dude. It's just the gaming in general. Right?
Yeah.
Because developers and publishers will not be able if everybody's actually on Game Pass. And actually, unlike this 120 million to I don't know how many people like the numbers always change, like the base of the PS4 and stuff like that, which I don't believe. I don't believe any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you have 100 million, I'll be nice, right? But even if you did have the numbers you say you do, which tend to fluctuate, right? Where's the engagement? With the real threat of Game Pass is the engagement, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a competitor, so basically, if your Game Pass audience is 50 million and they're actually engaged, like how you guys always talk about, like Zinc and you always talk about how many people play. What's the game you said earlier? The pirate game we have.
Oh, CFTs. Yeah.
Stuff like that, right? Once that
Dude,
becomes,
imagine adding to what you're saying right now.
yeah, good.
Imagine if they actually even had a fraction of the people they say they have, right?
Yes.
100 million people or 110 million people. And they had a fucking service like Game Pass. And all those people would be willing, obviously, to go on there and play the games and subscribe and keep subscribing because it just keeps giving them their value for their buck. Dude, then they'll not even Microsoft will be able to catch up to it because their engagement or their console base, they have way more people on consoles than they do on Xbox. You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And they don't see that. As a matter of fact, I saw somebody put an article where 30 games are coming out their fucking PSN at the end of May, and Spider-Man is one of them. I'm like, they keep taking out shit. Like, what the fuck?
Well, that's why Jim Ryan basically has been telling the truth about
Yeah,
all.
and they think that he's just going along being a monkey, right, so to speak. In other words, playing around just so that he can make it look like they're doing bad, but in reality, he's just playing a game to get his way. That's what people think. They don't realize he's actually saying the truth.
Yeah, they're hurting.
He's saying the truth.
Yeah.
And they don't want to believe.
No, they don't want to believe. Because he basically said he's saying the problem that they're having, like Xbox is just, it's the same thing in the streaming wars that Netflix has, right? Because Netflix, look, dude, and more power to Netflix. I'm not gonna hate on them for that. Like more power to Xbox, dude. They're the ones they pioneered it. Anytime you pioneer something, dude, because the thing that irks me the most about people is that like when they look at the Activision deal, it's like big bad Microsoft. Look, Microsoft is taking all the risks. They're putting up right. There's a lot of stuff that they're gonna have to do and deal with Activision as a company, with trying to put these games on Game Pass.
Look, if Microsoft doesn't buy Activision, right?
Yeah.
People don't realize that at some point Activision is going to have to go the wayside. They're going to have to go to the only thing saving them is Call of Duty. You know what I'm saying? Because of all the drama that's going on, all the mismanagements, all the complaints with the developers that are working there, and they will go to the wayside. It'll take a little while, but that's what's going to happen. And that's what they're trying to avoid, that they don't get to that point. You understand? And people try to say the big bad wolf, like they said with Microsoft, when they said it clear as day. They went to Xbox first and they told them no. They said go shop somewhere else and see who can buy it, because they were already doing the business deal already with Bethesda and Cinemax and stuff. And they went to Google, they went to Sony, they went to the Nintendo even, I believe. And they all couldn't afford what they were asking, which was $120 billion. So they came back to Microsoft and said, well, what can you offer? What's the best you can give us? And that's when they offered them the $68 billion or the 69, whatever. You understand?
And it's so irritating because there's a lot of things that you have to take into consideration that a lot of people, it's just their hot takes on social media.
Hot takes, right.
Like if you really think about it, right? If you look at it, especially if you're an Xbox guy, you should, because this is gonna affect your ecosystem. This could affect the cost of what you're paying for Game Pass. There's all of these things that, as Xbox guys, we should be focusing on, right? That's actually gonna affect us, right? Not 30 for like, look, Perfect Lead, Dream Shaker. Just had a look into Redfall, a Bethesda game, open world, non-linear, so atypical Bethesda game with online co-op. Anyone who cries about such a game being 30 frames per second are lost gaming souls. Dude, there's people that rebought the new Resident Evil. There's people that are still playing what the heck is that game, dude? Grand Theft Auto. Right?
Mm-hmm.
My daughter, dude. I just see my daughter because I heard her complaining. She's playing Fallout 3.
Mm.
She loved the game, but she said the only reason I know she was playing it, she was complaining. I could hear her. And she was mad at the dog because the dog keeps, the AI in there could be better. The dog keeps
Yeah,
on
yeah.
setting off the enemies, and then she ends up having to fight. She actually let the dog get killed, which I thought was funny.
Well, shit, yeah, Grand Theft Auto's on the chart every month still.
Yeah.
And this is what, a 15-year-old game?
Yeah, dude. And Skyrim. All of
It's
this
like,
stuff.
Jesus.
What Microsoft is heading for is total engagement, like you said. Engagement. And this
Mm-hmm.
is what we want, right? Because you want people within the ecosystem to actually take advantage of that ecosystem. And then that's what makes it better for all of us. Right?
And once they're on your ecosystem, they see all the other things you have to offer. And it opens up the door for all the other stuff from other developers and other genres. That's the other thing. That's how they look at it, right?
Look what Radiant says. Arcane never made a bad game. Yeah, I have yet to have a
That's
bad
true.
game.
That's true.
Yeah, and that's
That's
just
true.
like when
But
I'm looking at like you said, Hebot, right? When you're running on the list of stuff that so they're not gonna have the 60 frames per second yet, but then you
mhm.
start talking about the what did you say, like the 4K?
Well, it's going to be in 4K.
Yeah,
They confirmed that it's going to have ray tracing. They confirmed that it's co-op untethered. They confirmed that it will have a campaign co-op as well as a multiplayer component. They confirmed that it's going to have Dolby Vision HDR and Dolby Atmos surround support. So those are all things that are taking resources from the chip of the CPU and the GPU in the hardware on the console, right? But it's doing it at the level that the Unreal Engine 4 engine can handle, right?
yeah.
So more than likely they realize that doing it in 60 frames with all that stuff on, all the bells and whistles, is probably going to be too taxing and it's going to dip to like 40, 45 frames or whatever. So they figured, let's not do that. Let's make sure we cap it for now, give them all the other bells and whistles, and then we'll work on a 60 frames mode and figure out what's the best way to put it. Do we do 60 with 4K or 60 with ray tracing at maybe at 1080p? You get what I'm trying to say?
No, 100%. I agree with you.
With some type of sacrifice, right? So that the 60 frames is there, but you also have a level of quality individuals that doesn't look too compromising when you put it next to the 4K version. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what they're doing. But to do that takes time, especially that they need to maximize their time, efficiently, because they're not going to put out a bad product. They've never been known for putting out a bad product. And now with Microsoft and their money, their understanding, their flexibility, they have even more time to do this. So when they come out and tell you, the actual truth, listen, it's not going to have the 60 frames at launch, but we promise that we're working on it to give you a 60 frame mode, but it will be in quality mode, and this is what it's going to have. Right? Being transparent, being honest, and then what they get is, oh, this is not acceptable, you guys. How dare you, you fucking bastards? Like, what?
Did nobody play Deathloop? Did nobody play Deathloop?
Right. Deathloop came to Xbox and had 5 million players. It was on PlayStation a whole year, and I don't even think it reached 1 million players, to be honest with you.
Dude, I downloaded Ghostwire Tokyo. I'm going to try and find
I haven't seen it either. I need to. Yes.
I at least got it downloaded when it came out, but I just haven't had time to play. Again,
Mhm.
I understand, like some of you guys, I'm not trying to make light of your complaint about this. Right?
Mhm.
Again, what are you doing, man? Like, why are you here? Why are you?
But brother, for real, Sega Forever, you're being too nice. Because think about it like this, right? Yes, they have a valid argument about the 60 frames, right? They
Yes.
do, if that's their preference, right? Absolutely. But it's coming. It was promised. So what do? If you buy the game, you leave it on your either on your hard drive without touching, or you don't download it until the patch is there, and you play other stuff. You play your back catalog.
Well, this is the reason why I couldn't. even then, dude, it's just like, okay, not every game is 60 frames per second.
Right, right, and doesn't need it really. Right, right. For a good experience, it doesn't need it. Right.
So when I hear people say I'm going to sell my Xbox, I'm like, yeah, go sell it. No, because and I'm not trying to be like I'm honestly, if I'm being totally honest, you will be
Right.
disappointed. You
No, you're
will.
being honest, and they think you're doing a Jim Ryan, that you're just playing games just to talk, just to
Well,
be funny.
I felt bad because I did that too. But I'm at a point now when I listen to people say that, I'm like, yeah, dude, then you should go because not every game is going to be. If that's your barrier,
Your argument and your comparison, yeah.
if that's what you need 24/7, like you don't like Big Macs, you like to go down to the local burger joint and have a smash burger, right? That's what
Mhm.
you have, and you will sell for nothing more. Then don't go to McDonald's, don't go to Jack in the Box, don't go to Burger King. Just go to that one place that makes what you like. Now I don't know how you're gonna do that though, because no company is there's nobody making 60 frame per second games constantly. Like we're not at that level where every
Well, I
game.
mean, how is it? That means they're showing their complete hypocrisy. Because if that's the case, then Sony games should never be rated the greatest games of all time.
Yes.
Because all their games are 30 frames, right from the hip, every single one.
Well, I'm
You
gonna.
saw you saw they remastered The Last of Us 1 3 times in order to get it to the highest quality that they possibly could.
Yeah, yeah, and yet no.
3 times they charge you $50 and $70.
And so there's
3 times.
there's no blowback for that. And then like people will say, "Well, Xbox guys, why are you guys talking about that?" Because you guys bring it up.
Right,
You
right.
that bring it up. Our
Yeah,
stuff.
the biggest difference is Xbox gives us those features, right? And those boost for free. They don't charge us for remasters. They just give us a boost mode like they did with Far Cry the other day. Hey, here, pay Far Cry in 60 frames. Here you go. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're always
Hey,
doing that. And
play Far Cry in 4K. Here you go. Here we go.
this is why I don't. This is why I'm not really. We'll get it. We'll get it. You know what? I was getting so mad that I was basically just saying, especially on Twitter, right, with people, I'm like, you know what, dude, I hope because people were like, now they're starting to go to Starfield,
I
right?
saw you. I saw you when you attacked Fonzarelli. It shit was funny as hell.
Yeah,
Fucking
dude,
idiot. He's an
yeah,
idiot. Another idiot.
he's so bad. I get him mixed up with Salt guy, that Salt dude. What's his
Yeah,
name?
yeah. I saw you comment towards him.
Yeah,
I saw you comment towards. I think it was something Wolf said.
yeah, Iron. Yeah, yeah.
I saw you comment. I saw you comment against some people. I saw it. I
No,
saw
dude,
it.
because I'm done. I'm done with these guys, dude. I'm like, dude, like for Salty, like and Fonzarelli, I thought they were the same guy, because they
Oh
sound
yeah.
exactly the same.
No. Fonzarelli is the idiot that when I went on K Mega's podcast for the first time, after he begged me to be on there for years,
Yeah, yeah,
that when I said that PlayStation games are just movie style games that don't have longevity or substance because it's just about the stories and not the gameplay, that he said, "Oh, you're a fucking fake gamer." I'm like, what? And when I was about to go in on him,
yeah.
Mega was like, wait, wait, we don't do that here. No, leave it alone, leave it alone. I was like, what? So he can say a stupid comment, call me a fake gamer, when he's nowhere near my level of gaming, right? But yet I can't say nothing, so I left it at that. And I said to myself, if he invites me ever again, I'll never go back on.
No,
I'm done.
that's the reason why I stopped listening to Dealer a long time ago. Was because
Hmm.
it was the people that he had on his podcast. But like that's why these guys now you see them start shifting because this is what I want to explain to the Xbox guys out there. And I'm not saying the people in the chat, dude. I know you guys know what's going on, right? It definitely, but this is what it is, right? It starts off with the ponies complaining, picks up by the media, then we get our fake Xbox guys to add fuel to the fire, right? And this thing becomes a big deal, right? Because they want Redfall to fail, but they don't realize it's in Game Pass, so that whatever. And so what happens is the whole point of that is now to focus on Starfield, right? Because that's where they're shifting. Or not Starfield, right? Now they're starting to shift on Starfield and talking about the 60 frames per second and probably 30 frames per second. So what I did on Twitter when he started doing that, I basically was saying to everybody, you know what? I hope Starfield is 30 frames per second just to piss you guys. Dude, my daughter's playing.
Tom Howard said, he said it long ago, that they are not going to sacrifice the immersion
Yes.
of gameplay for their gamers or the ability to do whatever they need to do to feel, engaged, right? For graphics or frame rates, speed. He said it. He said it in the interview,
Yeah.
right? So if they come on and say, "Oh, see, they lied. They said it was gonna be 60 frames, and look, it's not." I got that already screen cap, thanks to our brother Face, because he sent it to me again, and I will put it up.
Shout out to Phase.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, big shout outs to my brother.
Oh,
You know,
Phase.
and I will put it up because that is bull crap.
Right.
It's like I said, Arcane Studios never said that Redfall was going to be 60 frames, but yet they're still trying to do it, and they promise they will.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Ah, dude, that's why, dude. It's just like the other thing I was saying, dude. If I was Microsoft right now, if Redfall is ready, I would just drop it right now.
Like
So,
today.
yeah, the day that all this crap kicked off, if I was like, and I know Phil won't do this, dude. I was saying that, dude.
Like to piss people off even more. Oh, you complain? All right, we're going to drop it even faster. Here you go.
Here you go. Here, play it.
Because you know, when they see the people playing it, putting up gameplay, that's going to piss them off even more.
Yeah, because we
Because
understand.
that 60 frame narrative, I'm telling you, brother, you can mark my words. You know how many times I've said things that come out to me to fruition after I've said it. You know it. I guarantee you it's going to be played the heck, and people are going to play the heck out of it. And that frames per second is not going to matter one bit. And that's going to drive them bananas.
No, because I
You
agree.
know?
That's not. Again, this is not what they're doing. Like if you look at Arcane, they're kind of one of these artsy developers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, and that's how I look at it.
Stylized, yeah. They have a
Again,
specific style, yeah.
very stylized, right? And so this is what it's all about, dude. It's like they're downgrading. They want to downgrade Redfall, right? They want to bring it down, and then their next shift is to Starfield. Right? This is what it's all about. This is why I don't get caught up in this stuff, guys. Right? There's a principle to it. I understand. I understand you guys' complaints. If it's based on principle, if there's a righteous indignation that I can pick up on when you guys are complaining about this, right? Like I feel it's legit, then I will respect your opinion. Other than that, dude, most people to me can go pound sand. I'm not going to listen to a bunch of people that don't support the system, that don't support the ecosystem, that don't have Game Pass, right? Or if you have Game Pass, don't play games, because the whole purpose of Game Pass, right, is to play games. The reason why we have Game Pass is to kill all these narratives, because Microsoft was basically, no matter what they did, even when they tried to do the right thing, people just hated on them. And at some point, I don't know what happened with Microsoft, which is a credit to them. They realized that it doesn't matter what they do, right? That people are still going to hate on it. They're a big corporation. They'll toe the company line. They actually care about the consumer for some odd reason. And so what they ended up doing is they ended up coming up with Game Pass. That's something that they came up with, right? To try and give the people what they want. And I, for one, love Game Pass.
Right.
If I wasn't sitting here doing this podcast, dude, I would have been playing Ni no Kuni too.
Right.
Because I got to get to this certain part, right? I got my Kingmaker, right? I got that done, and
I love the graphics in Ni no Kuni. I think they look beautiful.
Oh, yeah, dude. If you love anime, I just went ahead and bought the first game. I'm playing this just because I heard so much complaints about the game.
Right. It feels like the art style is very spirited away, like the animation.
Yeah, it's
like Ponyo.
Yeah, it's Studio
Spirited
Ghibli.
Away, Steampunk, Steam Boy.
Yeah, that's who made the game. The Studio Ghibli is the
Oh, they're the ones who did the artwork?
Yes.
Really? No wonder. You can see it too.
That's why some people don't like the second game, because the first game is more like playing an actual Studio Ghibli movie.
Mm-hmm.
This is the reason. So when I saw it and it came on there, I just went ahead and bought it. The first game. The second game, like I was saying, I heard so many complaints about the second game, right?
And it's actually turning out to be your favorite.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but then it jumped into Game Pass. And then I was like, okay, well, I'll at least try it out first, right?
Yeah.
To see if it's legit. Totally. Like, if you had a legitimate, like, maybe you don't like that style of game because it's different from the first game. Okay, I respect. But had I, again, like I was saying earlier, had I listened to these people and not experienced it for myself, and that's what I'm getting at here, is that with Game Pass and what Microsoft is doing, you're actually getting to experience things that you never experienced before. That's why you hear a lot of people talk about that. You hear Sarah Bond talk about it, not just as a corporate, like they're trying to make Sarah Bond some kind of corporate show. When she talks, talking about
stupid asses. Sarah Bond, you can tell that she likes what she's doing, her position.
Well, she's coming from it from a person who actually plays games.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I give her much respect. Not just she's gave her background, she's gave her bona fides, and I totally believe her. But
Yeah.
it's in the actions that she does now. It's like when she goes and does an interview, when she's flying all over the place like Phil, right? When somebody questions her about a game and she can boom, okay, she's playing it, right? And on top of that, she's a
What's
big
up,
nerd.
Pat? Hold on, brother. I didn't even knock on the fucking door. What an idiot.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
I hate when they do that. I heard them throw the package at the door, but they didn't knock.
Now I'll just read some of these comments real fast. But the turn-based games like Persona 5, yeah, I read it. The reason why I like Persona 5 and I gotta get back on it is because I like that style. I like that stylized type of gameplay.
Well, another thing too is, that I was thinking about when we were just talking. Like for example, then they don't also support certain things and then complain later that we don't get it. You know what I mean? That's another thing. Because like for example, this just came out in the store, and because I've had such a hectic month, with 3 birthdays, and fucking insurance went up because of some bull crap of somebody doing something in the parking lot and hitting my car, and then he went and reported it, and it made it seem like I hit him, and they took his side, a bunch of like shenanigans. So my insurance went up. But anyway, long story short, they have things that came out. They have that game Cannon Dancer, right? Ozymon Cannon Dancer. Anyway, that is the first time it's ever available on any console. Into arcade games, an old arcade game that looks and plays in the style of Strider. The Strider one, the original.
Yeah. From back in the day.
But it has more of not just the sword, but you can fight with your feet and hands. A kung fu style to it as well. Beautiful game. But my problem is that it's expensive. They put it for like $30. I don't agree with that. I think any game like that should be maybe $15, at the most, because it's an old Saturn and PlayStation 1 style game. With those 32-bit style graphics, right? Or 132-bit, whatever. But at the same token, if we don't support things like that, then we won't get other ones that never came out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but aren't you tired, bro? Aren't you tired of just dragging towing the line? Because supposedly all these people are gamers, especially on the PlayStation guys. They're real gamers.
Mm-hmm.
It's guys like us that have to toe this line, right?
Yeah.
Supporting stuff.
And I think they're getting a physical. As a matter of fact, that now that you say that.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. We're not, but they are.
There's a lot of people that are saying like, well, if you're in Game Pass, it's like welfare pass. You guys don't buy games, which I buy games all the time. And
the welfare pass, the welfare pass that they can't stand that every game comes out on.
Yeah, and that they talk about every single day.
Yeah.
They talk about it all the time.
It's such a welfare pass that it's basically your Achilles heel that you're so scared of that you can't stop talking about it.
Yeah, we know Jim Ryan is. Hey, let me read some of these comments real quick.
Sure.
I apologize, guys. I'm trying to keep up with the comments, but we got a lot to say. Dr. Vodka. Hey, welcome, brother.
You don't have to be saying sorry that you're late. Shut up, brother. You're our brother. You always show support. You know that.
The reason why I want to get better with the comments section is because the comments.
They deserve it.
Yeah, they deserve it.
Shit. They get overlooked all the time. Look how we found our sister, shout outs to her, Dia, that she's now doing shows with us. That girl is bright, and she's a real fan. She's a He-Man and She-Ra fan. I was like, holy shit.
Dia's like the perfect example when she made her comment on Unlimited's podcast. She's the perfect example of a person that I will respect their opinions.
Right. Like Sarah Bond, the way you said, right.
Well, like so with Dia, right? She said the 30 frames per second, but she gave a Xbox, a console, and a PC perspective.
Yeah.
Like there's guys on Twitter, dude. Don't be offended by what we're saying, and I know you guys won't be because you guys understand what we're trying to say, even though you might not disagree.
I need you to put the medicine away.
But back to the chat, like Radiance.
Go ahead.
I've never seen Game Pass lose 30 games.
What happened? What he said?
The Radiance, did you see? I never seen Game Pass lose 30 games.
Oh, Radiant, you're terrible.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have the option on the StreamYard to put up the article, but I can send you the picture of the article where it says that it's losing 30 games at the end of May, I think it is. Yeah, you
Yeah.
know when Xbox takes out games, it's like maybe 6, maybe 5,
Oh,
30 games coming out at once.
they talk about that stuff too, right?
They make a whole segment.
Yeah.
Games coming out of Game Pass this month. They make it seem like it's a bad thing. Like, you see, Game Pass is garbage. They're taking out games.
Yeah.
Listen, dude, if you didn't buy it on sale or if you didn't play it, even though it was on Game Pass, let's say for 5 years, then I don't know what to tell you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And
Because what
Xbox,
I do is obviously you're not gonna be able to play every game on Game Pass. So what I do, the games that interest me that I know are on Game Pass, like Tree Tech to Yumi or Tech to Yumi, right?
yeah.
I know it's not gonna be there forever. So what I did was when I saw it on sale, I bought it.
Yeah. I just bought. Well, I bought it. I liked the game so much when I played it. I bought it from the get. From the
Well, I was gonna buy it day one, but my problem is I had some other stuff, like other stuff I wanted to get. So I'll wait. I said I'll just wait. I didn't mind paying the full price, but it just so happens they put it on sale. I was like, all right, so I'll definitely buy it now because it's on sale too. Like, damn, like it's a win-win no matter what.
Oh, dude, we have options, which is a beautiful problem to have. Right. So that's why they keep on throwing stuff at us, right? Well, you guys play it on Game Pass. You don't buy the game.
PlayStation dudes are like that battered wife or girlfriend that they stay with the dude because they actually love them, even though he beat the shit out of them all the time.
Yeah, that's a perfect example.
I mean, I'm a good husband. I'm massaging my wife's feet right now while I'm in the podcast. See that?
See that you the man, dude.
I'm a real man.
The Radiant said Sony is doing a poor job at competing with Game Pass. No wonder they are scared of COD hitting the server.
Right.
Yeah. And then again, Jim Ryan had a moment of
But I'm gonna be honest, and I don't know if you guys agree with me, but you tell me if you do. I'm gonna be real honest, and this goes to the chat too, because y'all can put it down there as well. I just think that Sony's economical situation does not allow them to embrace their service the way they could, because it's affected. It's expensive. Microsoft has paid out $2.6 billion just for last year for games on Game Pass.
Yeah, but
you know what I'm saying?
The thing with Sony has the problem. Number one, they're stubborn, right? And they're again, I always say like we're in 2023 and they're still a 90s company. That's one of their big problems. The second big problem they have is they don't have the infrastructure in place.
Right, and they don't have the infrastructure too. And that's another important thing that we can't forget, because they don't even have dedicated servers to offer to any of their developers for free.
They also don't have any relationship like Microsoft has with these publishers and developers that they've worked with since 2013, when the Idea of Xbox program came into play, and stuff like that. This is something that Microsoft has. They've taken all the criticism, they've taken all the hate, and they built off of that. Basically, they've a foundation, and they're continuing to build. Like we're probably they laid the foundation. We're probably like on the fourth or fifth story of this 20-story building, right? And they continue to grow. And to do that, man, you have to lay a good foundation. And Sony just went a different direction.
Right.
We talk about this. All the guys were all because we see it, dude. The people in the chat, they all know this kind of stuff, right? The people that just don't get it is the people that should get it, which is the ponies, because this matters. This could cost you guys your company that you support, your brand, right? To the point where Sony, the only way Sony could possibly survive is if Tencent buys them, which would be funny because Sony's a Japanese company being bought by a Chinese.
They're Chinese, yeah.
I would love that. I would love to see that.
That would be funny.
For all the evil crap that Sony's done over the years, dude, that would be karma. That would be sweet justice. That would be
stupid funny.
That would be more. That would be better. I would enjoy that more than I would if they actually went out of business. I would enjoy both. Don't get me wrong. And then we'd have to find the T Reaper, where he was pissing on the PlayStation. We could play that on a loop.
Oh, like T Reaper, right? You mean?
Yeah, T Reaper. Yeah. So for a lot of you guys, dude, that's the level of where I'm at right now with all of this, dude. I'm like, dude, let it burn. Again, dude, that's why I would tell Phil directly, yeah, release Redfall. Is it ready? Like are you guys, I know you got marketing and all the stuff, you got to hype it up, stuff like that, but just drop it and see what everybody says. Lee, sorry, turn-based games like Civ 6 and Age of Empires 2 is amazing on Xbox. Yeah, that's what happens when you lay a foundation, right? So like again, for Redfall and all the people that are just wait, because it's coming. And then you guys
Right.
forget it's in the ecosystem. So you know where people are paying for Resident Evil 4, right? You don't have to pay for that. Microsoft will just update it for you 5 years.
Right. Right.
Yeah, that's this is the short-sightedness
Nobody.
of just focusing on
Nobody's used it. Right.
60 frames per second argument.
Uh,
Basically, like the AAA titles, like only a single what is it? AAA first-party studios. That's all that matters. And this is why Sony now is in trouble because they're fighting to keep COD deal going through because like the, what's his name? I forgot the guy's name. But the head of Sony, right? He's Ryan, Jim Ryan. That's why he said what he said. We want to block the deal. We don't want a deal. We want to block it, and that's the reason. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah. Those games are. Me and my friends have played dice and paper RPGs from Advanced D&D, GURPS, Cyberpunk 2020, and many more. We like Persona 5 and other JRPGs, and no video game can match the options of dice. Yeah, my daughter is finding that out right now because they're actually playing D&D in her school. And she's created her character. She has a group of people, and it's a different experience, right? Because you're playing with actual people, right?
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to playing on games. I have no problem with either. She does both, which I'm glad, right? Because this is why she can go back and play Fallout 3 and enjoy the game, except for all the stuff that ticks her off about it, right? Which is like I told her to her face. Like I just told her, my daughter's like, dude, you're a typical Bethesda fan. So we're both looking forward to Starfield when it comes out. Yeah, Doctor, thanks for being here, brother. Mr. Kima in the house, man. Good to see you, Mr. Kima. The U.S. government are turning against Sony because of their anti-competitive business practices. Yep. You live by the sword, you die by the sword, man.
And that's right. It's only a matter of time, Mr. Kima.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time. And I know we've been saying that for a long time. It feels longer than that's taking forever. But, these things, because they're on a, multi-billion-dollar company level, they just don't happen overnight. But definitely it's only a matter of time.
Dude, I preach this all the time on my Twitter. I know some people don't like it, but I'm like, dude, limited government, dude. As you can see, the great thing about all the ABK thing, at least on the political side, and I won't go too deep into politics, guys, but we'll look at it from a gaming perspective. You guys see that these people have absolutely no idea what gaming is, right? And these are the guys that want to regulate stuff, right? And so the great thing about Sony is Sony built this web of deception, trying to stop this deal. And what Sony didn't realize, right? Because Microsoft is the big bad, because they're a huge corporation, dude, and to some extent they have to be regulated. I understand that. But what Sony did, right? What happened with Sony was they built these lies, and they never thought that it would come back and bite them in the ass, and that's what you're seeing right now, right? Because all the stuff that they said they do, and then finally these guys are picking up on it. And there's the political, at least with the FTC guys, there's a political thing, right? We're a two-party system here, right? So there's politics, heavy politics being involved. This is why I say government. The less government does, the better. Dr. Vaca, no video games can be as non-linear as tabletop, but at least there are devs that try. The problem with JRPGs is that they don't try. They don't give players the freedom to roleplay. Well, and I will say this, Radiance, it's also on the fan base, right? If you're a fan of it and you like the way that it is and yes, how you want it to be, then they'll keep it. Stuff is still driven by the market. So a lot of people will, if a company sees that that's what their fan base wants and they stick with it. The problem with that, of course, if you don't try different things, you could get stuck like with the situation that Sony's having right now. He got his mic muted. Just to let you guys know, man, me and Hebot are probably the furthest. Okay. Yeah. I just want to let everybody know that me and Hebot are like on two ends of the spectrum, man. I'm all the way in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and Hebot's all the way on the East Coast. About as far east as you can get.
One
Redfall said no. Once Redfall said no, drop in, drop out co-op. The argument was over for me. Yep, truth. In fact, Lee was talking about that earlier. Ebot, if you want to add anything, just jump in, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I feel like I'm always interrupting when you're saying something. So I don't want to interrupt, especially when you're on your A game saying what you're saying.
I hate to say this, but the only reason why I can talk today is because I'm mad.
It's because you're mad.
Like when we do the podcast and stuff like that, I just like listening to everybody. But like I'm so
Okay.
upset. Like, it's just like all weekend. I wanted to do a video earlier. That's the only reason why I'm a little bit more talkative. But yeah, just speak your truth, dude. If you want to comment, just comment.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of things we can talk, but it's basically the same thing, and it's just who's willing to listen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Who's
Dude.
willing to listen? Give me 1 second.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. You can say that
Okay,
about most games besides Outer Worlds. You know what? Outer Worlds, that's like for me, I'll say this. Like, I think they did make it 60 frames per second, so I'll try and go back and play it. Because
right.
I couldn't
Well,
play
they
it.
just put that. They just put, like I told you earlier. They just put that 60 frames per second in Far Cry. What was it? The last Far Cry, right?
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they put a 60 frames mode.
Oh, that's good.
The same way they had put a boost mode on what the fuck was the other one? Oh, the Mad Max game, which I think is criminally underrated. A very good game.
Yeah.
Two man, what's up, brother? Nice to see you here.
Yeah. What's up,
Yeah.
too? Thanks for.
Um. Yeah, it's criminally underrated, and they did a boost mode on that. I think they did a boost mode on one of the Assassin's Creed a couple months back.
Yeah,
Like,
they're constant.
Microsoft shadow drops these things. They take longer than expected, but it's because it takes time.
Yeah.
It takes time. But one thing I will say, in reference to what we've said thus far, I think we're going to see a lot of changes and a lot of things that we've never really were used to or expected or are, adapted to seeing once they shift over to like newer engines like Unreal Engine 5.2, I think it is.
Yeah.
Or, and start using those RDNA tool sets that are supposedly going to alleviate a bunch of resource heavy commands on the CPU and the GPU that they're going to be already allocated to the actual engine within itself. And we have an example with that with the global illumination system that they're doing with ray tracing as well, with the lighting, with the demo of the Matrix. When you look at that and you see what that has accomplished, and it gives you an idea what they're going to do or what they'll be able to do in future projects with other games. It's just more build up for excitement. You know what I'm trying to say?
And that's why I don't lose my mind over this stuff. Was Microsoft has shown us especially over the last 4 years, what they're capable of doing when it
Oh,
comes
look,
to updating their games.
right. Look at the comment Mr. Kima said. I didn't
Yeah.
even know. He said Xbox YouTubers are complaining about losing subscribers after beat bashing Redfall. I mean, what do you think?
Well,
Real?
let me speak on that real quick. Let me speak on that real quick.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm not surprised, and you know
Right.
what, dude? I don't like. Okay, so me and Heba, we have particular leanings on social media. If you guys follow us, right? So for me, like for example, there's a lot of people I follow that don't like the Mandalorian season 3. So
Yeah.
that's their opinion. I understand what they're saying. I understand their complaints. Fine. I like Mandalorian season 3. I'm not saying it's. I think the second season was way better, right? But I'm enjoying it, and I'm enjoying it with
Yeah,
my kids.
yeah. I'm enjoying it too. I'm enjoying it too. Absolutely.
Now, with that being said, I'll say that, right? And if somebody gets offended by that and leaves my channel, hey, more power to you, bro. Right? The problem a lot of these Xbox YouTubers is like me and Hiba, we're kind of like principled and we have convictions, right? So I want to say something just to say it, right? Like we don't jump on the bandwagon, right?
Right.
To
Right.
say something because it's the new hotness, right? Like all these dudes are jumping onto it. Like some of these guys are doing it just to get views. Some of them might be like you see some people, right? That like what's his name?
Yeah.
Dark Taco. What is his name? Dark Taco. Dark Darko. Hiba, do you know? You know that's what's his name?
Which guy?
Doc Darko.
You mean you talking about Porter Rock's brother?
Yeah.
Dark Doc 86.
Oh, okay, okay. So I saw that he did a video about the thing, and then he did another video saying where he's okay with it, right? The reason why I'll never have to do a video with that, right, is because, again, right, we like people like me and Hebot, we understand why we like Xbox, why we like the ecosystem, why we love Game Pass. It's
Hmm.
not just to be a fanboy. It's not. This is why we call ourselves Xbox and make fun of that term because that was supposed to be something negative, and we don't. It doesn't bother us because we don't care. Plus, we're Gen X, but we don't care because that doesn't hold weight with us because we check our own selves, right?
Hmm.
We check our own selves all the time, and plus, we like.
Hmm.
You guys might find this odd, but we like playing video games because we're gamers. So
Hmm.
the only like when people call me,
What did I say? Did you hear what I said the other day on the podcast? I don't know if you heard me.
no, go ahead, brother, go ahead. I'll
I
put it up
said,
for everybody.
I said, you motherfuckers are gonna be mad at me, but my most anticipated game this year is the Toxic Crusader
Yeah,
beat 'em up that's coming
yeah,
out,
yeah, yep.
and they think I'm lying. I'm
Yep.
like, no, I'm dead serious. I'm so hyped to play Toxic Crusade, even though I know it's gonna be the same shit like Ninja Turtles, but it's a Toxic Crusader game which we never had when we were growing up.
No, we have
I'm
never.
like, dude, that just opens up the door for me. Like, yo, make a cops beat 'em up game, or make a Galaxy Rangers beat 'em up game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Shit, I love playing the on my I'm the emulator. I love playing the freaking Sailor Moon beat 'em up game. Like, look, I could appreciate something like Toxic Crusader the same way I could appreciate something like Starfield. You get what I'm saying?
No, yeah, exactly.
Like, I love I love them both. Right? You know, if I'm gonna appreciate them both, I'm gonna like them both. Do I have a preference? Yeah, of course. I'm a beat 'em up guy. I'm old school. That's my old school niche. If you show me a beat 'em up, I'm a sucker for beat 'em ups. I love them. But that doesn't mean I don't respect and understand the value of something like the shit. My most anticipated big AAA game is Space Marines 2.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that game too.
You know what I mean? Space Marine 1 on the 360 was fucking incredible and nobody played it. And thank God that they got bought out by a company with money. Now they're making a sequel. Oh, I can't wait.
God,
I cannot wait. Huh?
I wish Xbox, I wish Microsoft would get them because
Yeah,
it's
yeah. Well, like I just told you. Right now I'm sad because I want to buy Cannon Dancer, but it's like $30. I'm like, damn, I have to wait until it's on sale or something because it's too much. And I love it. And I already streamed it on my channel with the arcade version through my retroware. But I'm thinking, well, I can get achievements. You know what I mean? It's gonna be on my actual game library as opposed to attached to an application. You get what I'm saying?
oh, I agree.
So but people look at me like, damn, this dumbass want to play Cannon Dancer. What the fuck? And I'm like, dude, that shit just looks good. There's a new shooter that came out that looks beautiful. It looks at the same level as far as quality and graphics as R-Type that we paid $60 for just a couple of years ago. R-Type Final 2, remember?
Yeah, I got it.
Um,
Yeah, I
right,
remember you saying that to Sega Man.
right. So there's a new one that's on there, and it's only $7.99. I'm like, bro, that's a no-brainer. I want to get that. You know what I mean? I'm doing Xbox Bing points right now just to get it to buy it. You know?
Dude, I actually was like doing the rewards, man, to up my thing because I tied my subscription, um, my Game Pass subscription to the rewards. So I was doing all the stuff, and then plus it worked out that way because there's stuff that I wanted to buy.
Well,
Who's
you told me that you like to rent movies and buy them too, so
Oh yeah, dude. And then the
that
funny thing.
gives you mad points too.
Well, I'm kind of mad. Like I wish I had the time because I would actually do. I used to do those in the box or all in box videos. Because I want to do them, but I need to bring them back because I think a lot of people didn't realize in the movies that just came out that they sold, that Microsoft sold. Um, a lot of them were 4K UHD for $4.99 digital.
Right.
So yeah,
Hmm.
so
Well, another thing I thought about what you just said too.
mhm.
You know how we don't care how we say things, but it comes because of what we actually love. Nobody knows that better than me in the sense that you saw how much backlash and hate the Masters of the Universe Masterverse Revelation, right? Cartoon got.
Well, you gotta throw me under the
And I fucking
you gotta throw me.
Even Pixel Dan, that's a so-called so loves He-Man so much, but yeah, he won't dare say if he likes it. Like you could tell he likes it, but he don't want to say it because most of his fan base are the Rabbit OG Master of the Universe fans, where they're stuck with the vintage and that's it. If it's not classics or vintage, they don't want to hear it. I'm
Well,
like, dude, you're
even worse,
crazy.
even worse
Huh?
than that, dude. A lot of them are just they're not even He-Man fans. They're like me, dude. I love He-Man like from the cartoon, and that. But I'm limited to that. That's what I'm limited around, and that's the people you're kind of dealing with because that's what they want, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I can understand people then because look, like Hebot's throwing me under the bus right now, right? Because number one, we didn't do the podcast. We're supposed to do what I told you guys we're gonna do. We're gonna talk about that because we this is basically like a pop culture podcast. We're just basically focusing on Xbox. But yeah, bro, we gotta get together and do that because if it wasn't for Hebot, I wouldn't have watched the show either. And I have to thank
Right.
Hebot because I watched it and I actually liked it.
I told you it was really well done.
Yeah, it was amazing. Like the stuff that you told me. But again, another thing too, I want Hebot to talk about it because Hebot had to tell me, right? Hebot had to tell me stuff about the cartoon that made me appreciate it more because I'm not the deepest He-Man fan. But he told me stuff like like with the whole
Right.
Salvatore, the R.A. Salvatore tribute with some of the shots they did. Like I love R.A. Salvatore. I wouldn't have known that, right, if I did not listen to you and took the time to watch it. And that's
Right.
why you need for a lot of you guys out there, there's a lot of people I listen to, but you need to have people in your circle that you can trust. This is why I like our community in Xbox, like Dr. Vaca, Radiance, man. I respect all you look, we like global. Like a lot of you guys in the comment section, I guarantee you, like Mr. Kimo, we might not agree on we're not gonna agree on every single thing, but I do have a lot of respect for what you guys.
Right. Right. Well, it's like I told you that, and I said it to Unlimited the other day. I said we complement each other because
Yes.
while Unlimited does a bunch of new stuff and playthroughs and gameplay on the new stuff, I can do the gameplay on either retro stuff or the hidden gem stuff that people don't really pay attention to, right? Like the upcoming Bramble, right? Something like that,
Right.
right? And we complement each other. When I'm around you, I know I could sit there, talk to you about movies, comics, but I don't know nowhere near what you know as far as the level of Marvel comics. I may know some DC, but you know Marvel. So I feed off of you. I learn off you because you teach me shit I don't know about Marvel. The same way you say I teach you stuff that you didn't know perhaps about games that I know. It's the same way, but because we use each other and our friendship as to complement each other, right? When we do any types of shows, we're not doing it trying to compete and overdo each other. If that makes any sense.
Well, yeah, because we don't have to, right?
You know how other people are trying to outshine each other, like that's why a lot of them went their separate ways, like the way Colt went his separate way and Neeler went. You get what I'm trying to say? Because they want to get all the shine, they don't want to share it for whatever reason. Yeah, we do our own content, but we don't care about shining more than the others. What I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? If that makes any sense.
Nope, 100%, dude.
So that's why I said, yo, we complement each other. That's why I said it's like we're like the knights of the round table. You know what I'm saying? And that's the way it works for us. It may not work for others, but that's the way it works for us.
That's a great analogy because the Knights on the Round Table had issues too. They
Yeah, yeah.
were still a brotherhood, right? It's like, look, dude,
Yes, sir.
like we talk about it, like Iraq, like, and shout out to Iraq, man, dude. They did him wrong. You know that was the ponies that attacked him, dude. You know that they did.
Well, the thing is, too, Iraq, I told Iraq, with the way you've approached your channel now,
Yeah.
how you do things now, it will not take you a long time to rebuild your channel because people now have a much bigger and broader appreciation for you because they see who you really are and that you are who you say you are. They don't see a bully or a person trying to act ghetto. They don't see that anymore. I told him, I guarantee you did it on the channel, you're just gonna grow faster. Especially because you're starting from a clean slate and whatever things and damage you might have had in your old channel, it's not even gonna be there no more. So people can go back and show it. It's overlooked because you're no longer the Iraq X channel. But I also understand his standpoint where he says he feels like a weight off his shoulder. He's got a long he said he was on a long overdue vacation.
Oh wait, Doctor Vaca, Fonz made me stop watching Divas podcast. Yep. Yep. Actually, there's quite a few people.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, because Fonzarelli, he's a piece of work. Like that dude. Oh my god.
I guess maybe they bring him in to be like the countermeasure man, but that dude is irritating.
Well, it's like Boomstick. Boomstick actually had a very good approach to all his content. Very good way of thinking. As soon as he started dealing with guys that are PlayStation centric, Nintendo centric, to make it more diverse, his whole narrative and his whole outlook changed. Now he's about making sure that he placates to his audience. So if they want to complain about Redfall, that's what he's gonna do. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And that's what you make. I feel that's when you make the mistake, because that's when you lose your identity. You know what I mean?
As soon as they tell you, as soon as somebody tells me on the, especially on the Xbox side, well, I want to grow my channel, man, a red flag comes up.
Right.
Because I'm like,
Right.
dude, you're in the Xbox side, dude. Like, good luck with that. I wish you well, but the odds of you maintaining that Xbox, that standard,
Oh yeah, yeah. If you're an Xbox guy, you got to be like Rock.
yeah.
You got to know how to take a bunch of beatings and then come back and beat people up.
Yeah,
Because if you don't, it's over for you.
yeah,
Lights out, ding dong. You're gonna get knocked out or even killed like Drago did poor Apollo and shit for being stubborn.
there's two, man. I get tired of the constant whining on a lot of podcasts.
I think Apollo Creed is the only gangster Xbox fan that I could say, because Apollo Creed was like us, fighting no matter what, right? But he didn't know when to stop fighting until he got killed. Like, damn, we lost a good one. We lost a good one.
Yeah, he went out hard.
You know what I'm saying? He's the only true Xbox fan that's gangster, like hardcore, because he went out. He took a death. He didn't care. He was fighting like a champ.
Yeah, let me read Toolman's comment because it's good. I get tired of the constant whining on a lot of podcasts.
What were we saying earlier, brother? Remember I told you that?
Yeah.
A lot of people be saying that in the comment section.
It says, y'all circle a podcast, keep it real, and use common sense. Yeah, because we don't know what else how else to do it, brother. To be honest with you, I'm not going
to say that. To be honest, dude, I don't even know how to be a pony. If I tried.
No, I'm serious. I wouldn't be able to look myself in the mirror. Like, it blows my mind. Even on the Xbox side with some of these dudes, I ask myself all the time, like, dude, if I did that, I would not be able to. I would just close my channel down because I can't.
He said, I would just close my channel. Fuck it.
Yeah, I'll be like, dude, I'm done. Put me out to pasture, right? It's over, right? You know what?
Right.
Like for me, the thing that I was always worried about with gaming is that I've become too jaded. And it just blows my mind that we have a whole generation of gamers, right, that are just ungrateful, ungrateful pieces of.
You okay?
You know what I'm saying. Anyway, thanks for the comment, old man. Lee Dream Shaker, Arc Survival on Series X has option to play 360 or 30 frames per second graphic mode, or 60
nice
graphic mode because the graphics. I prefer 30 frames per second.
Oh yeah. I think Arc Survivor did put a 60 frames mode. I think he's correct. He's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
I think they did. It's it's like 1080p, right? Iceman, like correct me if I'm wrong, right? It's like 1080p 60, something like that.
Well, this is why Lee says this kind of stuff, because see, Lee plays games. I haven't talked to Lee in a long time, dude, but he has not changed. This is
because he was real when you first started seeing him until now. He didn't change his narrative because he was real. That's the whole point. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah. This is what I prefer than having like 3 million or whatever, even 10,000 subscribers. I'll take our group of people because I would never last, right? Because I would tell stuff to people. This is why I told you, Heba, dude. I used to be on a podcast with a bunch of DC guys. They're comic book guys, but they were DC guys. And I had to drop off the podcast because they didn't know anything about DC.
Right.
I felt bad because I'm not a DC guy, I'm a Marvel guy. And then I would tell them stuff about DC. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, dude, I have to get off this podcast.
Hey, you saw that Sega bought the makers of Flappy Bird or Angry Bird, I think it was.
Oh yeah, Roxio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sega bought them for whatever reason.
And then later this year, when Microsoft buys Sega.
I hope so, man. And people are like, "Oh, why you want to buy Sega?" It's like, dude, because the type of portfolio, history that Sega has with Microsoft's backing, money, opportunities, Sega could go back to their former glory selves, man.
Yeah,
They
I
could hire the right people. They can go back. You know what I mean? And
so this
revisit a lot of things, and
so this
not just
is
keep making 150 million different Yakuzas. You know what I'm saying?
well, this is the see, this is the common sense of Hebot right now. My responses lately have been just to piss you off. Why are you gonna make
Well,
yourself?
don't get me wrong. There's a little part of me that says, yeah, I want to piss off ponies too.
Yeah, because as soon as because they're coming at you from that perspective, not as a Sega fan, but like, why do you want Microsoft to buy them? Why do you have to buy
Yeah,
everything?
like Dreamcast guy.
Yeah,
He
I
said
can't.
he's a Sega fan, but yeah, he loves Sony.
Yeah,
Any real Sega fan fucking despises Sony,
yeah.
and that's just a fact.
Look, Radiant said Xbox should shadow drop all the games. I agree.
Yeah, we were talking about that Radiant the other day on the podcast. I was like, they need to do more shadow dropping because shadow dropping eliminates any game from being hurt by the motherfucking media or by haters or by fake influencers. Because by the time they get their hands on it, it's over. They can't create a fake narrative. Like, man, Redfall gonna suck because it's 30 and not 40, not 60. You get what I'm saying?
Yep. Hebot.
That narrative is done. Huh?
Why do people who say they're going to wait are asking for a delay for everyone else?
Right. Great point. That's a great point. That's a great point.
Dude,
That's a
Vaca,
great point. And you're right, Vaca, because if other people they like, okay, it's like I was saying the other day too with Sega Man, right? They really think that the 100 people on Twitter that are the actual small minority hating on Xbox or anything Xbox, that they oversee the other millions of people that just play. You see what I'm saying?
yeah.
Or that are just legitimately hyped to play Redfall. They don't care about frame rates. They don't care about resolution, HDR, ray tracing, none of that stuff. Even though it's beautiful, and if they knew what it means, they actually would appreciate it. But they don't. They just want to play the game, a good game. They think that them not wanting to play it because they say it out loud and are being the most loudest, that means, oh my God, Microsoft's got to postpone it just for that one person. And they don't realize that's not how it works.
Dude, that's why again, dude, that's why I've been saying just drop it. Drop it now. Just
Drop
drop
it now. Okay.
Ark Survival getting an Unreal Engine 5 upgrade soon.
Can
Yes.
you please put the
Shall
medicine
be
on my back?
interesting. Ark is a very
The
large
medicine on my back, and then do this with the medicine.
which also looks great at 30 frames per second, not suffering anything. Yeah. So as we know, Ark was I believe it was delayed to 2024.
Tell her for me, and she'll probably
And then a lot of people were upset about that, and I'm like, and they're upset about it. Not to me like the reason why they should be upset about it, if they were upset at all, if that wasn't just virtue outrage and stuff like that. But like you're saying with the Unreal Engine 5, maybe that's why it was pushed to 2024. See, the reason why I don't get caught up in all this kind of stuff too is I don't have the time, right? Because I'm drowning. Like I said to Hebot, I'm drowning right now, and I'm playing two games. That was
Yeah,
probably
me too. No, you're right. Me too.
well, I'm playing two games right now. There's probably the worst two games to play at the same time. They're both type of RPG type games. They're both games that content in there that you're gonna constantly be playing, right? So I should have played one and then picked another game like a shooter, but I did not do that. In fact, I feel so bad. My daughter had to finish my Overwatch season. I think there's season 2, season 3, but the season 2 was wrapping up. I didn't finish my stuff, and my daughter was nice enough to go in there and
Oh,
unlock
she
it.
can't do it?
Right. And this is the real kind of stuff I'm dealing with. And the only reason I needed it is I paid money for it. I'm supposed to be playing with my daughter, and I got distracted by other stuff. But she was nice enough to just go in there and knock off my stuff. This is the kind of things that gamers are dealing with, like guys like us, because we actually play games. Google poll. Speaking of delay, you guys are like 10 minutes behind chat. Oh yeah, I know Google. Sorry. Yeah, that's another
please,
problem I'm having too.
please forgive us, please.
Yeah, I forget, and then I'm gonna have to leave soon, guys, because I gotta go pick up my son. Guys like Mooch Fonz and the man. Yeah, yeah. These guys are dude. And I figured out this stuff a long time ago. Hebot knew this too. Hebot was saying this a long time. He got a lot of crap for it too.
I mean, I said this since day one. As soon as I caught it, I'm like, hey, listen. These guys are like this, and that. I'm already seeing it. Mark my words. And I got a lot of flack for it.
Dude,
You're
you
just a fucking hater because Mooch and Cole Eastwood and Gina, they got way more subscribers than you. You're just mad. How dare you? You're this, you're that. I'm like, dude, none of them know gaming the way I do. So that's all that matters to me.
dude, you didn't get flack. You got hate. You got hated on, dude. They were
Yeah, I
attacking.
got hate. I got a lot of hate too. Yeah, yeah. I got hate too. I got meaned. I was grandma Heba. I was tranny Heba. I was pedophile Heba. I was cocaine Heba.
They was talking about your hat, the way you wear it. I was like, are you
Yeah,
serious?
yeah, yeah. Like, oh, I was racist, fascist Heba.
I like the guys that are telling you stuff like you shouldn't be driving and talking at the same time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like if I don't know what I'm doing, yeah, yeah. Like, am I really gonna do this and risking myself for my family? Like I'm that stupid.
No, you know why I love that dude is because they ran out of other arguments because you blew them up. So then they started focusing on that stuff like, hey, you shouldn't be driving.
Like you really are irresponsible. You shouldn't be driving while doing that.
Yeah, that was funny. Radiance, I was more hyped for Redfall than Starfield. Yes, me too. Or
Oh,
Vacacy.
nice. Yeah, I
No,
mean, I think so too. I think I prefer to try out something like Redfall than Starfield because I was never big on Fallout, and it's mainly because I find the game's action to be too slow paced for me. I just
yeah,
don't like that. I'm a more fast paced guy. You know, I love Ninja Gaiden, Ninja Blade, Dante's Inferno. That's where I came from. That's where I stem from. So those are the games I like as far as action games, even if they have RPG elements, doesn't matter to me. But Fallout was always kind of like, well, although I did enjoy Fallout New Vegas, I thought that game was dope.
yeah, that was a good game.
But that was because it was different from other things they've done. You know what I mean?
Well, there, Gogo, yeah, good point, Gogo. Again, Gogo talked about this also earlier with the pedigree thing. I believe it was Gogo, but he said, well, I'm sure Redfall will be fine. The guy who made Thief and Dos Ex back in the day knows what he's doing. Yeah, exactly. That's why I do, like I said that earlier. I will defer now. Before I would take people's comments into more consideration, but right now I find myself deferring to the actual people who make the games, right? Because if they do mess the game up, dude, I can just move on. I have enough stuff in my.
Right, right. And the reality is, if the game's not good, it's kind of a relief, like you said, because then you can concentrate on other things that you do want to play.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, like yeah, that's like I said. I'm drowning. I'm drowning. That's why, and that's another reason why, dude. Like I would understand some of the hate if we didn't have anything. Like if you had Game Pass and you just had just some like game that didn't matter. But that's not the point. That's not the case, man. And the point I'm trying to make about that is that we have stuff to play, right? Like that's like so. Say Redfall comes out and it's horrible. I'll say it. I'll say okay. This game is horrible. Maybe they should have took a time. I don't know if it has anything to do with the 30 frames per second, right? And the reason why I'm high on Redfall is because I'm looking forward to playing it because I'm a Left 4 Dead fan, right? The same thing with Starfield. Starfield I'm looking forward to that game because it looks like one of the Bethesda games that there's a lot of hope in the game, dude. That's what I've been doing with some of my content. I'm looking for hopeful stuff, especially with all the stuff going on in the world right now. I want to escape that. So when I come into the spaces that I like, especially in pop culture, I want things to be a little bit more hopeful.
Right, right.
The circle of Xbox fans, Xbox Eva Unlimited Data. I think you're like the only ones.
Oh, thank you, thank you,
Yeah, thank you.
thank you so much, Gogo Paul. I mean, like I said, I've been doing this. I don't know if you followed me that far back, Gogo Paul, but since 2013, I would not disappoint, and it was. You got to see my comment section. It was nothing but toxicity and a half.
Oh yeah,
Because they hated that I was calling out the truth back then.
So like, I've never had a problem with Nintendo, even the PC guys. Right, the most toxic fan base we've dealt with is Sony.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
This is why I wish Microsoft would just destroy them.
Oh my god.
Honestly,
I mean,
they don't bring any. Look, if you look at what Sony's doing, they bring nothing to the game at all. Nothing.
Gogo Paul, look, these guys, they went into my Facebook because I didn't know that Facebook had an option that you could put it in private. I always had it rebut. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
I've always had it. What you call it? I always had it where it was open to the public, right? Because I never knew. You know, I wasn't social media savvy, so I never knew that you can privatize all that stuff. And they went in there and they took pictures of my family, my wife, put Michael Jordan's crying face on it. did memes with my kids, and that's when I knew that what I was dealing with. Once I saw that, I was like, "Oh, these dudes ain't gamers. They don't even know how to have a simple gaming disagreement. These dudes are just toxic. They want to offend and get nasty and disrespectful." I get it. It's easy to be a tough guy on the interwebs, on the internet, because on the internet you could be millions of miles away. It's not like someone in front of you. Then it's a totally different story. So I was like, okay, so that's how I try to learn to play the game little by little. But that's how I knew right there and then that this is a different type of console warring or warring in general. This is a bunch of toxic, ingrates that just don't respect.
Yeah, gaming changed. Gaming changed.
Yeah,
Coco
yeah.
said, I'm partial about the console war, but it's like, then why did you start an Xbox focused podcast? Exactly, Google. Truth. Lee said, anyone who cries about Starfield at 30 frames per second should think that shrink. Yeah, should see that shrink at the start of GTA 4 or GTA 5. Yeah, that's what we were talking about earlier, dude. Some of the most popular games are 30 frames per second. So in other words, I like what you're saying, B, because it'll prove out like most people don't know. That's why I made a comment on Twitter. I posted it on my Twitter page, talking about how this guy's complaining about 30 frames per second, the loudest. They didn't
Oh
even
yeah.
know, they need check marks to know that their Xbox does 4K HDR, because that's the reality of it. The average person does not care, not as much as we do. Unlimited podcast one day because I recommended, I think it was Sega Man's or Unlimited podcast one day because of others. Yeah, others Inc. puts in that work, man. Much respect to
Well,
others.
the three.
I started watching about 3 months ago and I was drawn in and started watching the other ones too. Yeah, so man, thank you. Thank you not just for being here and watching the content, but for contributing. It's always good for people to understand that there's people out there that don't buy into the hype, that understand what's going on, that actually play games. I don't keep on saying that, but it blows my mind when I see people now. Honestly, 100%. I think most of these people are not. They don't play their games. They don't play games. And I'm not saying because you're busy, because you're a dad, you have a job that you work 3 days on, one day off, right? Maybe you got things to do. Time is a commodity to you, right? Right. So I'm not talking about those kind of people. I'm talking about people with the time, but rather do stuff like console war, be on social media all the time, make YouTube channels, have YouTube channels, try and grow them, and do something like being a game centric channel, but don't play games. Something like that. Yes, PS Plus. I think some games come in and leave within a month or two. They're still not serious about it. Yeah, exactly, 100%. We talked about that earlier as well. We talked about her with the laugh. Good job. Let me see. The way MS is running Game Pass, Sony cannot match in games. The only Sony can compete is if they added the movies and music to their sub. Yeah, but they don't even dominate in that way. They don't. And the streaming services, like especially with Netflix, Netflix is
Well, I
changing.
mean, good luck with that one because he's right. They could add something to kind of give it more incentive, like a music, like Spotify, let's say, or like include the movies, certain type of movies or a certain amount. But they took that out of the PS5. The
Yeah.
PS5 doesn't even have a web browser.
You know why? Because they have VR. So
Yeah,
VR.
they don't have a web browser. You can't. They don't have a movie store anymore. They don't have a music store. It's like dead over there.
Yeah, VR will save it though. VR. I think it's VR. VR is the future for Sony. Two Man 50. Yeah, I've been following the scripts in summer. I found Xbox All In by accident. I think I saw him chatting one. Yeah, dude. I think your first chat was me when I was talking about. I think we were talking about like Marvel and stuff. In fact, I think we were kind of going back and forth. That's how I know Google is a real dude because I think we're actually disagreeing on it, and he still came back. He actually stuck to the podcast, man. You know when I go on my rants when it comes to Marvel, guys. I'm a huge Marvel fan, and which is why it hurts me to see what Marvel's doing right now. My daughter is going crazy waiting for Outer Worlds 2. She constantly playing the first one. Yeah, yeah, Vodka. My daughter was the same way. It kind of it blew me away how much my daughter got into that game. She beat it. She beat it, and she beats me over the head with it because I didn't finish it, but I couldn't finish it because I was getting nauseous.
My God, they say that Go ahead, go.
Yeah, so man, thanks, bro. Yeah, Sega Man, he's the man. That's our brother. Sega Man is the most dude. I love that dude, man. I'm glad he's doing more podcasts because as you guys know, we can't really watch anybody anymore. We have to rely on each other. If any of you guys want to be on this podcast, I will put you on. You can come on this podcast. If you wanna create a
Because I'm
channel,
trying to work on my
do
stuff.
that too. Seriously,
Unlike
you
you.
can't get it from anywhere else. This Redfall thing is taking the spotlight from Dream. Sony's 10-year game is getting its last update after 2 years. Yeah, yep. That's how it is, Vodka Mill. These guys never take the hits. Never. Has been great listening to you guys. You guys get it on the gaming fronts and shiny shine. Yeah, thanks, Lee. It's good to see you, man. We got to get back to gaming again, dude. Let me know. There's other games coming out that yeah, dude. Because my kids have outgrown me. I would just co-op with them, but they've outgrown me. My son plays on PC. My daughter's like in her own world, yelling at yelling at the walls in Bethesda game. She gets mad because she can't line stuff up. She gets mad at the dog because the dog keeps on doing stuff she doesn't want it to do. That's why one of the reasons she's into art, but I think that's one of the reasons why she's getting into gaming, so she can see what the problem really is, which I appreciate. Made it, can't participate though.
Oh
No,
my God! Look who it is. It's the delinquent of all delinquents. Others think he said made it. Can't participate though. You see? Always got an excuse when it comes to us. That's all right. Others ain't no problem.
yeah, the zinc up, yeah, and then plus I'm gonna have to leave anyway, like within in the next 10 minutes. So I'm just
Oh
trying
yeah,
to,
Warhammer Dark Tides looks official.
yeah,
Shit, you could play the other one that's pretty good where you have the canines with you. It's called dark no High Tides, I think it's called. The
yeah,
Warhammer Dark High Tide. I have it or high. We bought it physical for like $8,
yeah,
and I did a stream on it, and the game looks beautiful. Nice graphics, really RPG heavy too. But in the sense of buying stuff, upgrading, but the gameplay is really solid. Like
yeah.
it's
It's
awesome.
a Vermintide. It's its own world,
No,
which
not Vermintide. It's called High Guns, Hide and Gun.
hiding good. Oh,
No, I did a gameplay on it on my channel.
did you?
I think it's called Hide and Gun, Warhammer Hide and Gun, right? Hired
Oh,
Guns,
Shakas or Shakas?
Hired Guns. That's what it's called. My bad. Mhm.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Very, but the feature on that game is that you have a canine, you have a dog with you, and you can use him for your attacks and upgrade him because he's like cybernetic.
Yeah, I have the game. I haven't.
It's a dope game. We bought it physical for like $8, but worth. It was that game's easily worth $30-$40 if you bought it day one, because it's a really good game.
Oh, look at this. Look, Vodka. Yeah, respect, bro, because I haven't finished it yet, and we got the new game coming out.
Hey, look, I'm gonna turn on my camera and show you what we just got. Check this out.
Oh, unlimited, dude. Yeah, sorry.
Boom.
What you
You
get?
see me?
Yeah, I see.
Look what I just picked up. What we just got
Oh, wow, 4K shit. Yeah,
in 4K. The professional.
yeah, that's
Our
classic.
boy. That's our boy Jean Bruno.
Yeah, Jean Reno. Look,
Jean Bruno.
yeah, I love Luke Besson, man. I love his movies.
Jean Bruno. We had to get it in 4K. We had to. That's a classic.
Yeah.
That
Unlimited.
was inspired by like Google 13 and all that.
Yeah. Unlimited, sorry, brother. I'm gonna have to drop off in about like 5-10 minutes.
Oh shit, unlimited. Hey brother, yeah, we've been out for like 2.5 hours. You
Yeah, I'm
said you had
sorry.
to go.
I couldn't do that. I was trying to do the podcast yesterday, but I just have too much stuff going on right now. Yeah, same thing, 100, dude. Welcome to the podcast, but yeah, I'll be dropping soon.
Oh, there go 102. Damn it.
Yeah, Radiance. Yeah, guys. So you know what? We're gonna have to wrap it up, dudes.
Yeah, you said that already. Damn, that sucks, man. It would have been nice to have 100 and unlimited in here for a little bit too. Shit.
Because you know me, dude. I don't care how long this podcast lasts.
Oh yeah. They E-Rock always brings. He always brings that up.
I laugh every time they bring that up. Dude. I think it's hilarious. It's true, right? In all comedy, there's specks of truth in all comedy. So that's why for some of these dudes, man, you gotta learn how to laugh at stuff, man. You can't be all serious all the time. And a Radiance, Sega does have a treasure trove. That's why I want Microsoft to buy them. Plus, maybe they can get. Bro, did you hear about Yuji Naka? He got arrested. Oh, he bought. Did you hear about Yuji getting arrested?
Who?
Yuji Naka, he got arrested.
Oh, I did.
Yeah,
I think I did see something like that.
yeah, insider trading, man. I couldn't
Inside of what?
believe insider trading.
Why? What happened?
It's like I guess he had inside information on a game that was coming out, and him and the other dude that used to do the sound music stuff for the games back on Sonic Team. They
Oh,
pulled their stuff together, and then they started buying stocks and stuff, and they got busted.
oh wow.
Yeah, dude, I was like, I saw that, I was like, dude, man, what's going? See, if Microsoft would have bought Sega, we wouldn't have that problem, dude. They could have brought you back on. You could have
Listen,
made
if
it.
Microsoft bought a lot of companies, they wouldn't have the problems they have.
Yeah, and that's the thing that these ponies don't talk about, man. How the dire straits that some of these people are in. Because like again, they don't care about gaming. They only care about their brand. They're selfish, dude. They're selfish, evil, lying, hypocritical.
Yeah.
That's the ponies, dude. Yeah,
So,
100, 100 did a great podcast, man. Down with the pony bots. That was an awesome podcast, dude. It was kind of short though. I mean, which is
put
fine,
it
but
on, as mentioned.
like really, like yeah, I'm hyped for Redfall. Yeah, thanks, Vodka. Yeah, that's what I was saying, Vermintide. But I guess you meant hard then. Yeah, there you
Use
go.
the fresh I've been trying to put in my bag. Come on, tell me if I
Yeah, unlimited. Thanks, brother, dude. We got to get together, man. Like I said, it's been crazy, man. Because my kids have they got a lot of stuff going on end of the year and the
I
school
feel
year.
like I'm out of place. Like, it's not broke.
Hey, Eidos, man. Thanks for dropping in. We're about to end the
Yes,
podcast soon.
Brother Poseidon.
Yeah.
I owe that man so much.
All right, Heba, man. We're gonna have to wrap it up, brother. You want any last statements before we roll?
Oh yeah, man. Like no, just looking forward to all this stuff coming out back to back. I mean, I'm excited. There's a lot of things to play. I still haven't finished Hi-Fi Rush. I still haven't even touched High on Life, which was awesome. I saw my son playing that. I'm like halfway through the first Jedi Fallen Order, and the second one comes out soon also,
Oh,
which my kids also ordered and bought.
yeah. Did you see
So,
what Vodka put? She finished the game.
oh, did he?
Yeah. So
I know Craig Simmons was playing it for the first time too, and he loved it. He said, I'm excited for the new one already.
You just got it.
I think it pressed into art, so I gotta open it. It's coming, but they didn't get it. So yeah, so I mean, and check out those games I told you, brother. The shoot 'em up
Yeah, dude.
and the Cannon Dancer. I mean, I don't know if it may be too pricey, but if we buy and support those games since they're old arcade stuff, we might get more. I don't agree with the price. I don't. But unfortunately, we don't make those decisions. So
Wait, is that physical or digital? It's digital.
no, it's just digital. They don't have a physical. They have a physical for PlayStation and Nintendo, which I think is $40 physical, which is even more. But on Xbox, it's digital and it's $29.99.
Yeah, Microsoft should actually invest in a company or buy a company that can do that.
Well, they need to start investing in a lot of physical for games too, because
Yes.
Hi-Fi Rush should have a physical. That's a game that caught a lot of attention. It brought attraction. It was being chattered, right? And it should be on store shelves that when people see it, it get more following. But they don't put those games on physical for whatever reason.
They should be like they need guys like us on there because with the $7 price point, what Microsoft should do is they should get Hi-Fi Rush. And I'm not saying to charge $70, right? But what they
Well,
could do is
they don't have to charge 7. They could charge 40.
no. But what they could do is they could put, like you're saying, they do a physical and then
Yes.
they do a bundle, right? And then they sell it that way, dude. Make it a collector's thing, dude. And
Right, or do a collectors of it, right? Could you imagine they would have done a limited time collector's edition of like the Hi-Fi Rush, like an Xbox Series X console, or even a controller?
Yeah.
For Hi-Fi Rush. What? If they would have capitalized on all the hype that when it first came out, it would have sold and sold a lot.
Well, we also talked about this too, right? That game itself, with the characters, with the way that the game is, it is right for action figures, right?
Oh yeah, and action figures. Yep.
So this
Dude,
is
I
why-
remember, no lie, I can send you the article. I remember because my son told me. He was the one that told me. My son Darius, shout outs to him. He said that they were supposed to make Recore figures.
They did.
and they never really made them. They only made the statue,
Yes.
but they were supposed to do like like fully articulated an actual line. I don't know if it was supposed to be NECA or who was going to pick it up, but they were supposed to be
No,
doing them.
no, it was. I don't think it was NECA, dude. It was somebody else.
It
Like
was
some.
or maybe like Figma. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or SH Figure Arts or even Rebel Tech. One of those were supposed to make high end figure of Recore and the characters and her and her companions. The robot, the dog,
Yeah.
and they never made them. And I'm like, see, that's a missed opportunity too, because that'll bring in the figure community to get familiar with the character. And something like Hi-Fi Rush, not for nothing. Something like Recore, they should have had animes. They should have ordered Netflix to do animes of those things immediately, because that would have bring more traction, because they fit well in the anime space. You see what I'm saying?
The thing about Xbox is the thing that gets me about them, like what they're trying to do. They're trying to build this brand. And look, your gear. Some of your gear looks cool. Some of them are okay, but you just can't build it off of gear, dude. This is the stuff like Ebot saying. This is the stuff that I wish somebody was in Phil's ear talking about it, right? Like I'm surprised like Aaron Greenberg didn't come up with this type of idea with all the stuff they did with the refrigerators and stuff like that, right? This is something they
Yeah.
need to do because they've been on point with that kind of stuff. Like they got a lot of hate for the design of this stuff, and people kind of made a meme and they tried to clown it by saying it's a refrigerator. What did Microsoft do? They actually made a refrigerator, which is
Yeah, like they're making the toaster of the S.
yes, but that's the kind of stuff that's what they're brilliant at. So why don't they expand it a little bit more? You got people hating on you, which is not your fault. It's Sony's fault that we have $70 games, right? It's all on Sony. They set that standard, and the market followed. So
True.
what you
4K
do,
Red Dawn.
you take that a negative, and then you flip it into a positive, right? You take something like Hi-Fi Rush, right? You get somebody to do the figures for all the stuff that Microsoft does with indie gamers, with
I gotta
indie
open.
developers, all this kind of stuff. The fact that you guys can't see doing that with like smaller companies that make figures. Right? You guys could, there's so many companies out there that you could work with, and you don't have
Yeah,
to have Funkos, and you don't have to have like these big guys. You
yeah.
can, particularly with them, keep
But it
it.
seems to me like they only do the risk with, like, let's say, because like with Halo or Gears, because remember, even with Forza, remember when they were bringing out the games, what they were doing is if you pre-ordered it in certain places, you got the die cast of the main premiere car in the cover.
Yeah, so if you're gonna do that though, like
I got like two of them, and they stopped doing that.
but if you go big,
Yeah,
right?
like right.
And
Make the controller.
those are like your flagship titles, right? So if you're
Yeah,
gonna like go all the way, man, I totally understand that. But for some of the
you're
stuff,
gonna like they should do it with Fable. They should do it with Perfect Dark.
yeah,
With all the big titles that they know they're in the works, they should. With Hellblade should have at least a controller or a console, custom console, something,
right.
because they know that's a big title.
Well, this is why a lot of these companies that buy these brands and they don't understand their fan bases. This is why Marvel's
Yeah,
suffering. This is why Star Wars is suffering because you need the hardcore. Sure, you want to go for the overall, right, the general audience, but it's the hardcore that drives all this stuff, and you gotta respect.
right.
And you gotta bring something to it, man. Because when all of these dudes are done with you and everything's said and done, and those people walk away, dude, you're gonna still have that fan base there, right? And then
Yeah,
you work it, you rebuild it, and you relaunch it.
yeah.
But
If you don't get people that are new familiar with it through the hardcore, at the end of the day, it can die off too.
yeah,
So,
okay,
brother, I'm gonna let you go because you got to go, and you already said it multiple times, and
yeah,
we're gonna keep talking. And then we had our brothers trying to come in, and I don't want to, we don't want to make them feel like
yeah, true.
we didn't want to let them in. You know what I mean?
All right, I'll let you
Um,
shout yourself out, dude. Just hit it out, and then I'll hit mine out. We'll
yeah,
go.
no, brother, like always, it was a pleasure being able to come because you've done the show multiple times already, and I haven't been able to come in.
Right.
But since you did it early, I was able to come in, which is great. I'm happy about it. So I'm glad. Now, please set something up. I don't care if it's this weekend. We can do it tomorrow. We can do it tonight. Don't matter.
Okay.
Or during the week, so we can do the revelation talk, because Revolution's still coming out next year.
Yeah.
But we could talk about the toys and how the impact and the different approach. Like I said, that level of hate, unwarranted hate, and why I feel it's unwarranted, and wherever else you need answered, I can give them to you.
Yeah, and that's what I want to kind of build it up to prep you. because I
Oh
did
yeah,
agree.
Unlimited. Unlimited. You're right. I wish Microsoft gave us more collectors. Sony makes collectors edition and custom items a lot. Yeah, and for the stupidest things, Unlimited. Any little stupid thing they'll do with collectors. Yeah, you're right. Microsoft needs to invest way more, and they used to do it on the 360 era. I don't know why. I guess they figured maybe people don't want it. I don't know.
It's one of the blowbacks of being corporate. It just is.
Mm-hmm.
You know. The only people I've seen that push against that and do a good job is Disney.
I mean, I hope that Starfield console they're saying rumored to be coming out is true with the controller, and I hope they sell the controller separate because if I can't get the console, at least I want the controller. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, they messed up that 20th anniversary edition of Halo. That pissed me off.
Oh, that's gorgeous. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but
Dude,
I was
they needed to make more of the Halo Elite. I still want that so bad.
they closed all their stores. Anyway, I'm gonna sorry, but okay, guys, I'm sorry, I do have to go. I'm looking at it's 10
All
o'clock.
right, brother. Is your boy Hebot. You can find me on my channel anywhere on social media as Hebot or Hebot8 or most powerful or most historian or C_respect. Love you guys. Thanks for the participation. Love you, brother. Sega forever. Like I said, let's do this other show
I'll
if you
hit you up.
can as soon as possible.
I'll hit you up later tonight.
Okay, Papa. It doesn't matter. Whenever you're ready.
Okay.
And
Uh,
good luck, man. Whatever you got to do. Okay.
Unlimited.
Peace.
Yeah. I got to shout out Unlimited. He bought the buyback edition. I remember you saying that. For
Oh, yeah, yeah. He did say that.
Yeah. Yeah. Respect, bro. Respect.
Respect. I mean,
Um,
brother, if you want to buy one for your brother, I'll be more than happy.
yeah. Right.
With all my expenses, I gotta pick and choose. I hate that shit, goddamn it. Peace.
You know what, dude? Yeah, we might have to do that, dude. I mean, I'll hit you up later. We might have to
All
do
right,
that.
puppy.
Our support.
All right. Be careful, brother.
Yeah, and plus we can use that as cannon fodder on Twitter. So
For real. I'll talk to you soon, brother.
All right, brother. All right, guys.
All right,
Thank you.
peace.
Peace, brother. Xbox All In channel, host Sega Forever. Thank you guys for coming by. Chat, you guys are absolute fire. Thank you guys for sticking with us this long. Thank you guys for the comments. Again, I try and read as much as possible. Um, but I mean, I'm sorry, dude. There's just so much stuff going on, dude. And I just hope a lot of people out there. I understand frustration, dude. We all can get frustrated. Again, right? I understand that, but never lose sight of what you have. Right? We got a lot of stuff, good stuff going on, man. And if you focus on that too much, you lose sight of what you have in front of you. I say that all the time, dude. You focus so much on all the negative stuff. That's why sometimes it's great to get off social media, get away from some of these toxic people in the gaming community. And there's a lot of them, especially on the Sony side, right? And don't let them take your joy, man. And then what you do, dude, you just go play your games. That's what I've been doing. This is why I'm kind of late to the game on a lot of this stuff, dude. Playing the games that I'm playing right now, it's been hard, dude. It's been really hard to keep up with everything. But when something like this blows up because it's so big and you see them going down this road, dude, again, this is why we don't have some of the games that launched in 2013. We do not have the thanks, Google. Take it easy, brother. We don't have the Rise 2. We don't have Sunset Overdrive 2. We don't have a unique Titanfall sequel that we should have got, right? Instead of the Titanfall 2 that came out, right? We don't have a Quantum Break 2, right? We don't. Where's Killer Instinct 2, 3, 4, 5? The arguments we should be having with these games is that we have too many of them. We have too many sequels, like a 4 or 5, right? How are they gonna rework the formula? How are they gonna make it brand new for us? We don't have those problems because those things never happen. And that's the issue. This is why I'm so adamant about this, because I don't want to see us going down this road. And I don't think we will, just because Microsoft's learned from 2013 and with Game Pass and a lot of the other stuff they're doing and how much more engaged they are with us. I don't see that happening. And I'm looking forward to Redfall. It was a game when I first saw that it launched. I was more than happy. That was my most anticipated game. Starfield, of course, because I'm a Bethesda. I love Fallout and stuff like that. But not the most hardcore fans, but with Bethesda and Fallout. Starfield seems like a no-brainer to me, but I'm more anticipated for Starfield over other Bethesda games. Well, except for Redfall, I'd put Redfall first, then Starfield, because Starfield has an element of hope to it. Because we've been playing post-apocalyptic stuff for so long. I have no problem with it. Love post-apocalyptic, but I'm looking forward to seeing what Bethesda can do with something that seems a little bit more futuristic, a little bit more exploratory, and a little bit more hopeful, right? Being on the edge of technology and everything like that. So, Anyway, thanks you guys for joining Xbox All In channel. Host Sega Forever. We out.